Is that right? Speaking of his own beliefs. Coupled with the series of twists and turns of Xia Lin, Asia was a little bit unable to turn around. Looking at Xia Lin blankly, of course it is otherwise. In modern society, how can this rather retro rule not be cancelled, actually? Don't look at the very open atmosphere here in Japan. But Kyuwang Town is actually an exception. It has always been conservative. And everyone doesn't think there is any problem with it. Xia Lin said such a sentence against his will. The little nun showed a look of struggle on her face. Xia Lin looked at the sky as if looking at the gods, and said in a desolate tone, "This must be the gods who recognize Kyuwang Town and let Kyuwang Town maintain its customs as always. Suddenly it makes sense. What should I do?" At this moment the little nun was very confused. On the one hand it was his own beliefs and on the other hand, he felt that Xia Lin's request was too abrupt. Well, if would you take me in under the gaze of Xia Lin? Asia was silent for a long time, finally raised her head hard, bit her lip and asked with difficulty, "Certainly." Xia Lin nodded as a matter of course without any hesitation. However, it's a bit inappropriate to say that it is shelter. It is to live together in the future, I promise you. Hearing this, Asia seemed to put down a big stone in her heart, and a relaxed smile appeared on her face that had always been embarrassed. Only, Asia suddenly seemed to be remembering something, and suddenly became a little twitchy and uneasy. "Just what?" Xia Lin asked. "If I'm with you, can I continue to believe in the gods?" Asia thinks this question is very important. If you get no answer, you may be very unhappy in your life in the future. Asia looked at Xia Lin uneasily, wanting to get a positive answer from Xia Lin's mouth. Not that she was suspicious, although Xia Lin used the only god as an excuse to fool her. Asia knows that many people do not believe in gods. If she really became Xia Lin's person, she must respect each other's ideas. However, she is unwilling to give up faith. No problem. Xia Lin said very generously, "Thank you." Asia bowed gratefully to Xia Lin. "Don't use honorifics in the future. My name is Xia Lin. You can just call me by my name," Xia Lin said with a smile. "My name is Asia Algot. Please give me more advice in the future." Asia introduced herself with trepidation and bowed to Xia Lin as she spoke. Xia Lin was speechless. "You said that you didn't understand anything when you came to Kyuwang Town." But the Japanese side bowed and saluted, which is a very fast learning. That's one more thing. After introducing himself, Asia hesitated for a while and said, "Let's pack your things first." Xia Lin nodded, then squatted down, picked up the suitcase that fell on the ground, and put the clothes scattered on the ground into the suitcase. Asia blushed, because there were some close-fitting clothes in those clothes, and it was a bit embarrassing for a boy to touch Xia Lin like this. "It's just..." Looking at her kneeling down to help her organize her clothes, Asia's heart flashed with emotion. A person who doesn't mind her things and helps her organize her clothes should be a good person. Xia Lin also didn't know that an inadvertent move actually caused Asia to completely reverse her previous view of him. I'll mention that. After Xia Lin sorted out the suitcase and scattered clothes, she took the suitcase in her hand, and Asia reached out her hand to take it. "Let me do it." Xia Lin didn't agree, and he felt that he still had it. "Thanks." Asia blushed, lowered her head and whispered thanks, feeling more and more moved in her heart. Looking at Asia's shy and cute appearance, Xia Lin couldn't help sighing in her heart. Only an innocent girl like Asia would believe his nonsense. "By the way, you just said there is one more thing. What is it?" Xia Lin asked. "What?" Asia was called back from her shy state by Xia Lin, let out a soft cry and said apologetically, "It's actually like this. I came to Kyuwang Town to defect to a friend here. Now if Xia Lin plans to take me in, I'm going to explain to them." Asia explained but without elaborating. "I'll go with you." Xia Lin said. "No. Don't bother, it's just a small matter. I can do it by myself." Asia quickly waved his hand and said. If Xia Lin took a meaningful look at Asia, he naturally knew what kind of situation Asia was talking about. To defect to a friend, can't I know? No. Asia hurriedly denied it. and said with some hesitation, "It's just." A look of difficulty appeared on Asia's little face. In her eyes, Xia Lin was just an ordinary person. And the people she was going to meet next were the priest and fallen angel. She didn't want to involve Xia Lin. "Okay, go to my house first. I'll let you recognize the way first. And after you put the salute, you can explain it to your friends." Xia Lin didn't force it either, of course, he had his own ideas. And the little nun couldn't control him. "Okay, thank you for your understanding." Asia said gratefully, "Are you using honorifics again?" "Yeah, sorry," seeing Asia's panicked look. Xia Lin decided to stop teasing her. Otherwise, she would really make her mentally insane. Xia Lin walked in front with a suitcase, while Asia followed Xia Lin like a little daughter-in-law, with restraint and ease in her expression.
Hey everyone, Firescale Audiobooks here. If there's a novel you'd love to hear more of, you can support us on Patreon or Ko-fi. Depending on your tier, I'll make extra parts just for the stories you're most excited about. Usually I can only upload 4 to 5 parts of each novel, but with your support we can go beyond that. And of course, don't forget to hit subscribe. It helps more than you know.
And occasionally a casual smile appeared. Even Asia is very strange. And now there is no forced reluctance, but a little bit looking forward to the next life. It's not that Xia Lin's protagonist's halo broke out, but that Asia is in a period of confusion and suffering at the moment. If someone was willing to lend a hand to her, she would grab that hand without hesitation. Coming to Qing Town to go to Fallen Angel and the Lost Priest is also Asia's helpless choice. If there is a better choice, she will never choose to join a camp that is contrary to her beliefs. Now Xia Lin stretched out her hand, even if it was very unreasonable, but it allowed her to see a glimmer of light. Compared with the Fallen Angel camps, Asia is more willing to believe in Xia Lin. "Here, this is my home," opening the door with a click. Xia Lin walked in first, took out a pair of slippers at the entrance, and handed them to Asia. "Excuse me." Asia bowed again in trepidation and then, like a small animal in a new environment, looked at the furnishings in the room curiously. Xia Lin was speechless and realized that Asia was obviously a foreigner, and she knew a lot about Japanese etiquette. Xia Lin suddenly had a doubt in her heart, whether Asia had already learned about Japanese customs before coming to Japan. Well, here comes the question. In the end, am I doing Asia or is Asia doing me? But looking at Asia's innocent face, Xia Lin laughed. How could such a little white rabbit have such complicated thoughts? Probably because she was very polite to people in the past. It's such a cozy place, after putting on the slippers. Asia followed Xia Lin to the living room. Looking at the simple furnishings in the living room, a warm smile appeared on her face. It will indeed be warmer if more than one person lives together. Xia Lin nodded. He put the suitcase down. Well, will I live in a room with Xia Lin in the future? As if thinking of something, Asia's pretty face had a touching rosy touch. And even her voice lowered. "Sleep in the same room with me." "Are you in a hurry?" Xia Lin glanced at Asia with a half smile. Alas, not hearing this. Asia was like a steamed crab. Her pretty face was full of blush. She waved her hands at a loss and almost fainted. It's just that Asia kept saying no for a long time. But she didn't say a complete sentence in the end. She could only lower her head. Her head was so hot that it was smoking, and she didn't dare to look at Xia Lin's eyes. "Besides my bedroom, there are 2 empty rooms. You can pick one." Xia Lin didn't continue to tease her. Otherwise, he would be in trouble if he passed out. "I know." Asia's tongue is not easy to get up. "Okay, here's the key to the door, you take it." Xia Lin walked to the cabinet, opened the drawer, took out a key from it and handed it to Asia. "Thank you, I will definitely keep it well." Asia held the key with her hands folded, as if she was holding a treasure, rare face still rosy. With a happy smile, "It's not too early. You hurry up and explain to your friends." Xia Lin said with a smile, "My word. Go buy you some daily necessities first, or when you come back. Go to the supermarket together. I don't know if you will come back here for dinner. Just a little explanation, it shouldn't take long." Asia thought for a while and said just the next moment. Asia seemed to remember something. The expression on her little face collapsed again. And she said a little embarrassedly that, I don't seem to know where he is. Then you swore before that you would go alone. Asia is even more embarrassed. Xia Lin said helplessly, forget it, I'll go with you. It's getting late and I won't worry if you go out alone. Well, thanks. Asia was very moved and said that she now realizes that she is really lucky to have met such a person who is worried about her safety. Where does your friend live? Xia Lin asked casually. He knew that Asia's destination was the church. Actually, it's like this. Asia thought about it and decided to explain it to Xia Lin. Half a minute later, Asia explained the purpose of coming to Qing town. Get lost in two completely opposite directions. And your sense of direction is good enough. After listening, Xia Lin Sukomi said that the direction of his home and the direction of the church are two completely opposite directions. Xia Lin is thankful for the attributes of a Xia Road idiot. Otherwise, Ish may not be able to meet her. Because this is the first time I came to Japan, I am not very familiar with the environment and architecture here. And I have not found anyone to ask for directions. Asia said embarrassedly, her voice getting lower and lower. Sorry, okay, no need to apologize, it's not a big deal. Xia Lin turned around and was about to go out. He put on his shoes again, seeing Asia. He was still standing in the same place uneasily and said, let's go quickly and settle things before it gets dark. Yes. Asia was agitated and hurriedly followed behind Xia Lin. After going out, Xia Lin stopped a car halfway. From home to the church in the suburbs, it would take an hour to walk by foot. Although Xia Lin's strength can be reduced completely, there is no need to waste physical strength and time. It cost you money. After getting into the taxi, Asia blamed herself very much. In fact, if she was alone, she would just walk. There is no need to apologize. You will be mine in the future. There will be a lot of expenses like this in the future. Do you have to apologize like this every time? Isn't it too outrageous? Xia Lin said playfully. Asia roared like a mosquito and replied in a low voice with a blushing face. The driver's brother sitting in the cab looked envious through the rearview mirror. Oh shit. Is the current student party so rigid in falling in love? And it's still a nun's uniform. Even playing with the temptation of uniforms. The driver's brother thought about his goddess, who didn't give him any good looks after licking for half a year, and wondered if he would change the style he pursued in the future. Of course, Xia Lin didn't know that she was just using a sentence to tease the little nun. But later, the goddess of the driver's elder brother completely blocked him. If I knew, I would definitely laugh out loud. After more than 10 minutes, the taxi arrived at the destination. After Xia Lin paid the money, she got out of the car with Asia. In addition to the fare, Xia Lin gave another tip to let the driver wait for a while. After all, this is a suburb, and there should be no taxis coming during this meeting time. Xia Lin didn't want to go back on foot. The location of the church is halfway up the mountain, so it can only be reached on foot at this moment. It was already evening and the sunset was as red as blood. The gray church sits alone on the hillside, and the blood-like sunset shines on the church, which looks a little weird even at the foot of the mountain. Looking up at the church, you can feel an ominous dullness. Just send me here, then I'll go up by myself. After getting out of the car, Asia was surprisingly tough. Although his tone was still soft, okay. Xia Lin didn't refuse. But after Asia walked down the mountain paths, he followed directly. When Asia walked down the path between the mountains and forests and headed to the church halfway up the mountain, Xia Lin swaggered and followed. If it were anyone else, they would have found Xia Lin behind him long ago. But the little nun was so stupid that she didn't even notice that someone was following her. And she was in a hurry to go to the church to solve the problem. So she sped up a lot along the way and didn't pay attention to the situation behind her. When they came to the door of the church, Asia stood outside the door hesitantly, considering whether to go in or not. As the former saint of the church, She doesn't have much power in her own right other than having the sacred gear, the smile of the Virgin. Even so, she could feel that the church in front of her made her feel uncomfortable. And she had an urge to turn away and stay away from here. Especially the church looks very run down and looks like no one is taking care of it at all. It can be guessed that either the place has been abandoned for a long time, or the management personnel have no faith in awe at all. Otherwise, it would be impossible to make the church in the stronghold look like this. Father Fried, are you inside? Asia stood at the door of the church, cautiously shouting to the inside after about 10 seconds. The door of the church was opened with a creak, and a person came out wearing a gorgeous exorcism costume. His white hair is dazzling and conspicuous. It was Father Fried Seltzer. Oh, isn't this our Holy Lady Asia sauce? I've been waiting for you all day and I'm finally here. Hello, welcome, after Fried came out. He spoke in a very exaggerated toning, a hip-hop style, especially with a very strange and crazy-looking smile on his face. After seeing Fried, Asia involuntarily took 2 steps back. Obviously, she was also a little afraid of this lost priest. That, Father Fried, I'm here to tell you something. Asia hesitated for a while, raised her eyes, looked at Fried firmly and said, actually, I have found someone who is willing to take me in. As for what I promised you before, I'm afraid there is no way I can fulfill it. I'm really sorry, Asia bowed hard. Congratulations. Congratulations. A fallen saint who was expelled by the church besides me was able to find someone else willing to take you in. Fried smiled grimly, but he said words that sounded understanding. It's really nice of you to understand. Asia was uncomfortable with Fried's words, but she straightened up and said happily that she was worried that the other party would disagree. But she didn't expect to talk so easily, understand. But Asia-chan, I don't agree. How can I agree? Fried yelled, his face extremely contorted and exaggerated, as if very angry. Asia was so scared that she stepped back and almost fell. Asia sauce, it's not a good boy if you don't talk. You promised to come to Meba, now you tell me you won't come. But I was deceived by you. This is the act of a wicked person. A malicious smile appeared on the corner of Fried's mouth. The wicked need to be punished, ahaha. I borrowed the words of the saint. The former saint's Asia sauce should be very familiar. Should be very familiar, I won't forget it. Fried laughed like he was talking to himself. And the smile made people shudder. I'm really sorry, but I'm so sorry, I still want to get out of here. Asia showed fear but did not change her decision. Leave here. Behind Fried, another voice came out, the voice of a woman. Asia, do you want to get out of here? This is a tall woman with a pair of black wings hanging from her back. The clothes on her body are like sexy leather clothes, but some important parts are covered, exposing large areas of fair skin. Fallen angel. Seeing this person, Asia's instinctual pupils shrank, her heart beating as fast as she had refueled. She resisted the urge to turn around and run away, and raised her eyes to look directly at the fallen angel. You who have been judged as a witch by the church. Besides my embrace, who else would dare to take you in? Linali said coldly, I don't like your eyes very much. If you don't want me to dig your eyes, just put your eyes away from me. Linali glanced at Asia and said with a look of disgust, however, since you are here, don't leave. There is also the person who dares to take you in. If he has the courage to come here to find you, let him come. Linali was unquestionable with a cruel smile on her face. I would like to see who the guy who dares to steal someone from my Linali is. I will definitely take good care of him. Hearing this, Asia showed a look of despair. How could she not understand what Linali meant by care? It was obvious that he had the happiness at his fingertips. But now he was plunged into the abyss by Linali's words. She knows the power of fallen angel, and she has no strength to resist. The only thing that Asia is fortunate is that Xia Lin was not allowed to follow. However, I thought of Xia Lin, who was still at the foot of the mountain. Asia prayed in her heart that she would never come up to her. It's perfected such a wonderful expression. It's so addicting. I really want to destroy Asia sauce like this. With a crazy smile, Fried exclaimed in Schadenfreude. Until I'm done with that, Asia can't go wrong. And when it's over, she can do whatever you want. Lanali sneered and said Asia would be useless anyway. And it would just turn into a corpse you hate for fried did. Asia was in despair and stood there like a puppet. Even the light in her pupils dimmed. It's boring, is this broken? Lanali looked at Asia, who looked like a wooden sculpture with disdain, as if she was looking at a piece of garbage. And then she instructed Fried in a bored manner, Fried, give me a good look at her and don't let her run around again. I don't want to have to find someone at that time. Let's go. Let's go, Asia chanted Father Fried's time next. Fried stuck his tongue out like a hound, but Asia didn't move. Is that intimidating, Asia? A familiar voice echoed in the air of the church. Hearing this sentence, Asia's body shuddered and turned to look at the owner of the voice in disbelief. So intimidated, Asia? A familiar voice echoed in the air of the church. Hearing this sentence, Asia's body shuddered and turned to look at the owner of the voice in disbelief. Xia Lin. Asia couldn't help but blurt out with a look of joy on her face. I don't know why, even though I knew Xia Lin. It took less than 2 hours in total, but subconsciously, Asia would take Xia Lin as the backbone. The moment she saw Xia Lin, Asia's heart involuntarily calmed down, however. The next moment, the surprise on Asia's face turned into anxiety and panic. Didn't I tell you to wait for me at the foot of the mountain? How did you come up? Asia said anxiously. It's getting dark. How could I let you go up the mountain alone? Xia Lin shrugged, but it doesn't look like I'm wrong. You seem to be in trouble, Xia Lin. Asia was moved to look at Xia Lin. A warmth flowed through her heart and her eyes were wet. As expected of a witch to confuse a young man so quickly. Tusk, it's really amazing. This method makes me feel ashamed. Lanali said jokingly aside. Is this the one who planned to take you in? Unfortunately, my eyesight is not good enough to see someone like you. No. No, he's just a kind passerby. I got lost on the way here. He helped me find this place. Asia covered her face in panic. Xia Lin watched this scene speechlessly. This child is stupid to a certain extent. Would anyone believe him when he said such a thing at this time? Obviously, what Asia said was just a mocking look from Lanali. Do you take me for a fool? Lanali snorted coldly, and was very displeased with Asia's stupid behavior, as if she was treating her as a fool. I'll take care of you later. If you don't punish a B***ch like you. It really makes me feel sick, Lanali said, leaving Asia behind, turning her eyes to Xia Lin's back and scolding in a questioning tone, you three. Don't you want you to monitor the vicinity of the church? Why is a human running up not even knowledge? Eh? As Lanali's voice fell, a helpless sigh sounded from the woods. After a sound of leaves shaking, 3 figures appeared. They stood on the 3 tall trees and looked down casually. Environment of. It's just a human, what does it matter, Lanali-sama? It was a blonde goth loli who was talking. She was sitting on a branch with her feet dangling and staring at Xia Lin. And don't you think this little human brother is pretty? I want you not to be a nympho. Now you'll be blamed by Lanali-sama. On top of another big tree standing a tall woman in leather. Fallen Angel said with some schadenfreude. The other fallen angel, who was wearing a gray trench coat, was leaning on the trees behind him, frowning deeply, and didn't care about Xia Lin's situation. You're very honest, so I'll tell you this. And I'll let you go later. Xia Lin glanced at the blonde goth loli and said, being able to recognize that she is good-looking shows that she is fundamentally different from the other 3 fallen angels. And she is a discerning fallen angel. Such a visionary fallen angel, it would be a pity to die. Ha ha ha, little brother, you are very interesting. Blonde goth loli is amused with belly laughs. A human being so outspoken that he wants to let him go. It's like a fantasy. And she really can't tolerate her not laughing. I smell it, next to Lanali. The moment he saw Xia Lin, Fried showed a sadistic arc. His eyes seemed to see the meat bun, this unpleasant smell. Even if it is separated from its disgusting, to be able to smell it from such a distance. Does it have something to do with Devil's Side? Seeing the crazy fried, Linali showed a thoughtful look. As a fallen angel, her sensitivity to devil is not as good as fried. The lost priest, wearing the school uniform of Q Academy. It's no wonder that he has the aura of devil. Before coming to Qing Town, Linali also investigated. This is Gremory's site. And Q Academy was where the Gremory princess went to school. Wearing the school uniform of Q Academy. Whether or not he has a deep relationship with devil, he should have a bit of devil's breath after all. There are many devils in that academy, he'll leave it to you. Remember to do the finishing touches. And don't leave anything behind. The last 2 days are a critical period for me. And I don't want to be disturbed by some superfluous things. Linali said with little interest that she had no interest in an ordinary human being. And even if Xia Lin looked good, it wouldn't attract her attention, yes, Linali-sama. The blonde goth lowly responded excitedly. Lord Linali, please let him go. You are good to me, but can I beg you to let him go? Seeing fallen angel preparing to deal with Xia Lin, Asia looked sad and prayed to Linali. Are you qualified to say such a thing to me? Linali was unmoved at all, making Asia even more desperate. I was really underestimated. Xia Lin chuckled and felt that it was necessary to pour some thoughts into Asia in the future. A Scyther is no need to beg this kind of person. You are my person, and there is no need for you to bow your head to anyone except me. Oh, little brotherthis is really domineering. And it makes everyone excited. The blonde gothic lowly said with a big laugh. Of course there was only contempt and ridicule in her tone. I can't tell the situation, it's just showing off. It makes people laugh. The male fallen angel leaning on the tree trunk spoke in a low voice. Asia, come to my side, Xia Lin said to Asia, but... Xia Lin, Asia looked at him worriedly. And wanted to fight for it. Hoping that Linali and the others would be kind, come over. There was a trace of indulgence in Xia Lin's tone. Hearing this, Asia gritted her teeth and finally trotted to Xia Lin's side. She decided that if fallen angel did something to Xia Lin later, she would protect Xia Lin even if she sacrificed herself. Linali just looked at Asia casually, and did not stop Asia's movements, in her opinion. Both of them were meat on the chopping block and couldn't run. Don't worry, these people are not my opponents. Xia Lin stretched out her hand and rubbed Asia's head. Instead of worrying about these fallen angels, it is better to think about what we should have for dinner after we go back later. This is the thing to worry about. Feeling Xia Lin's confident and calm gaze, Asia unconsciously felt at ease. As if Xia Lin could do what he said. Do you know why I asked Asia to come to the church? Xia Lin looked at Linali with a cold expression. Oh, let's hear it. Linali looked interested just to pass the boring time. First of all, of course, I want Asia to recognize you. After all, this silly girl was very grateful to you before she came to church. Although she will be able to discover your true colors in a few days. But in those few days she will be very grateful, blame myself. I don't want to see the people around me unhappy. Xia Lin said before knowing Linali and their true colors. Asia did have some gratitude for these people after all. She accepted her when she was desperate. Sounds like you know us, Linali frowned. Xia Lin chuckled and didn't answer directly. Of course he knew it perfectly, by the way. Why don't you tell me the reason you took in Asia before? I don't think you would be so kind. HMPH, it's nothing to say, Linali said with a sneer. This naive woman. She thought we took her in because of her ability. And she can work for us with her own ability. Ah yes, it's because of her ability, Linali laughed. A little crazy and jealous. How could a sacred gear as useful as the lady's smile choose such a S***T as a host? So I must take it. Only I can use the power of the lady's smile, how so? Asia watched this scene in disbelief. That's it, so don't have any more illusions. Xia Lin patted Asia's shoulder lightly. What about the second reason? Linali was very unhappy with Xia Lin's attitude, and decided to concoct him in a while, so that he knew what would happen if he offended him. Second, Xia Lin closed her eyes, I don't want to leave the troubles that can be solved that day until the next day. Open it again, it is the mysterious red rune cross pupil. When Xia Lin's eyes opened again, the black and white eyes had been replaced. In the center of the pupil is a mysterious cross composed of red runes, filled with a strange and oppressive color. Oh. After seeing this scene, Lanali, who was originally displeased by Xia Lin's attitude, showed a little more interest on her unhappy face. It turned out to be a kind of magic eye. Lanali stared at Xia Lin with great interest. Suddenly Sniradan said, "No wonder you said those words just now. So is this your confidence? However human, you seem to have gotten something wrong." Lanali's tone changed suddenly. Her eyes were arrogant, as if she was looking down at Xia Lin, and said loudly, "You think you can be presumptuous in front of my Lanali with a mere magic eye? You think you can face what kind of existence is that? The magic eye, like the sacred gear, is a very rare and precious thing. However, Lanali herself is a fallen angel who has lived for a long time, and it is not that she has not seen the power of the magic eye. In the final analysis, whether it is sacred gear or the magic eye, awakening in mortals is only to give mortals extraordinary potential. Let them have the possibility of approaching the gods and demons. And Lanali and the others themselves are the fallen angels in mythology. And they are legendary creatures, naturally. There is disdain for these magical eyes or sacred gears that do not seem to be very powerful. It's just a lower-level fallen angel. But I'll drag you to the sky," Xia Lin sneered. Lanali's character is really the same as in the plot, with not much strength, but she is blindly confident and arrogant about her identity as fallen angel. Although using the Eye of Annihilation to deal with a few lower-level fallen angels is a bit of a fuss. In order to prevent these people from escaping, it is better to simply do it. Otherwise, it will be a hassle for them to react and occupy air dominance. Hearing this, the expression on Lanali's face suddenly suffocated, and then it became very ugly. And she roared in a low voice, "A lowly human dares to look down on fallen angel. Human, you really like to provoke me." Xia Lin's words completely angered Lanali, making Lanali's beautiful face look like a monster at the moment. No matter how high she poses, she is only a lower-level member of Fallen Angel. So she wants to get Asia's sacred gear and climb to the top of Fallen Angel. However, being exposed by Xia Lin at this moment naturally made Lanali angry. "Even if Asia pleads for you now, I won't let you go." Lena Lee grinned and looked at Xia Lin. "Is it the magic eye?" "It is indeed a good thing. As a collectible, it may be a good choice." "Wrong, I won't let you go," Xia Lin shook her head. "Get him to Medont hurt his head. I'm going to dig out his eyes alive." Lanali looked cruel as she instructed the three fallen angels. Yesai's Lanali-sama is really good at instigating people, and it would be faster if she did it herself. The blonde gothic lowly complained her body slipped. Her dark wings spread behind her back, and with the falling of the black feathers, she fell from the tree. Humans with magical eyes don't know how powerful they are. The male fallen angel in a gray trench coat raised his head and looked down at Xia Lin indifferently. Whatever he is, the royal sister fallen angel, who was wearing a leather coat, stretched her waist. She raised her hand slightly, and a flashing spear of light suddenly condensed in her hand. "It's really unfortunate, human beings. You who have magic eyes, if you didn't come here, maybe you will have a good life in the future." The royal sister fallen angel pretended to be sorry, but she was actually sarcastic. She shook her head and sighed, "It's a pity, what a pity." A voice sounded in his ears very close, and even without using his strength, he could feel the breath of someone around him. The pupils of the royal sister fallen angel shrank suddenly, and in her sight, the boy she regarded as her prey had disappeared in place. "So fast, how can it be? Be careful, Calavana, he's with you for a while." Exclamations sounded, and they all looked in the direction of the royal sister fallen angel in disbelief, as if being stared at by wild beasts. The cold sweat broke out on the back of the royal sister fallen angel. Her hair stood up and her whole body was cold. It's a pity that I was too arrogant to meet us. The royal sister fallen angel known as Caravana finished speaking subconsciously, and then suddenly reacted, raising the light gun in her hand like a madman's, and stabbing at Xia Lin beside her. Xia Lin did not dodge or evade, and stepped forward to face the spear of light, fallen angel. The royal sister called Kavana showed a happy expression. But the next moment, the happy expression on her face was replaced by panic. The spear of light that she was best at didn't work at all when she came into contact with Xia Lin, but simply disappeared. The feeling of suffocation came as she let out a whimper, and struggled with her hands in a panic. Xia Lin raised her hand and stuck her neck directly. Oh. I'll give you this sentence again. Don't be so arrogant in your next life. Xia Lin made a force in her handand with a click. She twisted Caravana's neck. The beautiful body of the royal sister, fallen angel, suddenly lost support and drooped down softly. Xia Lin waved his hand and threw the fallen angel's body aside. Caravana, the blonde goth, lowly growled angrily. You dare to kill my companions. The male fallen angel also looked at Xia Lin angrily. Don't worry, it's your turn next. Xia Lin looked at the male fallen angel, and then lightly tapped her toes. And Shunbu played its role in an instant, flashing in front of the male fallen angel, impossible. And fallen angel Linali was also frightened by Xia Lin's sudden outburst. Even among the 4 fallen angels, she is the leader. In terms of strength, she is indeed the strongest among the 4 fallen angels, and already has the strength of an intermediate fallen angel. However, no matter how strong it is, it can't be strong. And no matter how strong it is, it can't be able to kill the royal sister fallen angel Caravana in seconds. For a moment, Linali could no longer maintain her previous arrogance, and her body trembled slightly the next moment. Linali's eyes turned to Asia, and then rushed directly to Asia, wanting to take her as a hostage and make Xia Lin submit. Xia Lin sneered. The fire knife Kong Yan appeared directly in her hand, and then threw it casually. Once it is made to traverse all directions, there will naturally be a 100-step flying sword, Chinese letter. Between the flashes of electric light, Kong Yan's speed was extremely fast, slashing directly through the air, and nailed it to Linali's shoulder superior. While making the 100-step flying sword, Xia Lin killed the male fallen angel casually under the terrified look of the male fallen angel. With the annihilating eye mode turned on, as long as it is related to magic, even the power of light can be absorbed and converted. In the eyes of Xia Lin, fallen angel is no different from a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. Easy to kill in less than half a minute. 2 of the 4 fallen angels were dead, and 1 was nailed to the wall of the church and rendered incapacitated. Donasik Linali-sama, the remaining blonde goth lowly fallen angel, wailed and looked at her dead companion with a look of horror and sadness. Xia Lin casually looked over. You. The blonde gothic lowly took a step back in fright. Her face lost its blood, and she slammed into the trees behind her. Although Xia Lin's eyes didn't have any killing intent and were very calm. In this case, even this calm gaze still scared the blonde goth lowly. Don't comes. The blonde gothic lowly closed her eyes and forgot to resist, so she could only keep waving her hands and making hysterical calls. Don't worry, since I just said to let you go, I will naturally not break my promise, Xia Lin said indifferently. He took 2 steps to the front of the blonde goth lowly, lifted her chin directly, and said frivolously, although the goth lowly style is good, it's a pity that your afro-like hair is too ugly, not my style. Sure enough, Asia is the style I like. The blonde gothic lowly shivered and looked at Xia Lin in horror. Go away, remember to be a good person. Xia Lin smiled and said playfully, no. That's right for fallen angel, suddenly. Xia Lin's hand holding the blonde gothic lowly gradually became heavier, causing her face to deform. Xia Lin's expression became a little colder and said, otherwise next time we meet I will kill it directly as you. As soon as the voice fell, Xia Lin let go of her hand and turned to leave. After Xia Lin turned around, the blonde goth loli finally couldn't control it, screamed in horror, then spread her wings, and fled in the opposite direction of Xia Lin as if she were desperate. There was no sneak attack. Xia Lin shook her head and felt a pity if she attacked. She would be able to kill her justifiably. Although he said he would let her go if it was an enemy, Xia Lin would not be merciful, however. It seems that this blonde goth loli has been broken, and Xia Lin gave her back. So she didn't dare to sneak attack in the final analysis. He is just a lower-level fallen angel and he has been broken. So he probably doesn't have the courage to fight against him again. Ignoring and fleeing the blonde goth loli, Xia Lin stepped on Shunpo and came to Linali in a blink of an eye. The power of the thunder light flowed in Linali's body along the blade, numbing her nerves, so she couldn't escape after being nailed to the wall. Linali first looked at Xia Lin approaching in horror and fear, and then she instantly showed a pleasing look. The once hideous face was transformed into a pitiful look, which made people feel the urge to care. If there is no prejudice, Linali's appearance is actually good, after all. Purebred angels and fallen angels are all born according to human aesthetics, and no matter how ugly they are, they will never be ugly. Therefore, even the ugly ones in fallen angel are still beautiful when they are placed among human beings. Lord Xia Lin, from Asia. Linali heard the name of Xia Lin. She was dismissive before, but now she humbly called Mr. Xia Lin. Linali's voice has changed, and it has become a crisp and pleasant voice. It is no longer disgusting to be high, and with that good appearance it looks a little pure. Forgive me for being blind. If I know you are such a powerful person, I will never disrespect you. I can be your lover. I am fallen angel still, original, very clean. Definitely can take care of you. Lena Lei looked at Xia Lin pitifully, trying to seduce Xia Lin and let him go. In her consciousness, Xia Lin can look down on the shriveled woman in Asia, and there is no reason to look down on her. In terms of seduction, Linali is very confident. Her depraved attire coupled with her innocent face, two diametrically opposed styles fall on one person, which is definitely a big killer for boys. There is no reason not to fall, sorry, ugly. Xia Lin pulled out the flame knife nailed to Linali's shoulder, and in Linali's desperate eyes, she took Linali's life very simply, want to run away. Father Fried after killing Linali. Xia Lin looked at Fried with a relaxed tone and a hint of jest. Fried's body was shaken. When Xia Lin killed the first fallen angel, he felt that something was wrong and wanted to escape. As a lost priest who defected from the church, Fried was able to escape the pursuit of the church again and again, and was still alive and well. His strength is one of the factors, and another is naturally his cautious personality. As long as something is wrong, turn around and run away without hesitation. It is precisely because of this that he escaped the pursuit again and again. The same is true this time with a keen sense of smell. He knew that it might be bad, so he planned to escape into the church. Inside is a teleportation formation, which can be activated as long as you stand on it. This is the retreat he has long reserved. I thought those fallen angels would be able to stop him for a while and buy him time to escape into the church. It's a pity that Xia Lin ended the battle in an instant. Do you think you can escape? Xia Lin looked at Fried playfully, and had already locked him in. It's unbelievable that the shitty humans who mixed with devil can kill all those bastards. Fallen angel. Seeing that he couldn't escape, Fried took out a weapon from his arms, a gorgeous pistol, and a hilt. However, this uncle is very strong, go to hell. Fried grinned and shouted. The blade of light extended from the hilt, and the pistol was also used by him to shoot at Xia Lin. The silver bullet of light flying while attacking. He retreated, not giving up the idea of escaping into the church. Boring stuff. Xia Lin easily absorbed the power of light that attacked him, then rushed directly in front of him and slashed at Fried with a knife. From the beginning, Xia Lin had no intention of letting Fried go. Fried is far more dangerous than the blonde goth loli he let go. Because Fried is a lunatic with no bottom line. The king of hell is good to see. But the little devil is difficult to deal with. This kind of person will bite you hard whenever he gets the chance. Xia Lin will not let this happen, damn. Facing Xia Lin's approach, Fried waved his lightsaber and resisted in a panic, shouting incessantly only in the next moment. Fried's voice got stuck, because Xia Lin's flame knife had already cut his neck. Looking at Fried, who was constantly struggling because his neck was cut open, Xia Lin simply gave him another cut, completely ruining his vitality at the last moment. Fried was still thinking of fighting back and killing, but the difference in strength was too great, and the power of light contracted from fallen angel was useless. Instead, it would become the nourishment of Xia Lin. In such a situation, Xia Lin can only be sent to hell. With Fried's death, the system's beep sounded, ding. Congratulations! The main quest, Abduction of the Holy Maiden, has been completed. The rewards are being distributed, please check. Get primary therapy, get primary purification. Get 1,000 points. Xia Lin didn't pay attention to the system reward for the first time. Xiaoho was on the side, covered her mouth. Her beautiful eyes widened. Watching this scene in disbelief, it was so shocking. I had no hope and planned to sacrifice myself to save Xia Lin. But unexpectedly, a big reversal suddenly came. Fallen angels grouped, whom he regarded as impossible to deal with, were dealt with like chopping melons and vegetables by those who wanted to sacrifice their own protection. If it was said before, Asia would never believe that Xia Lin has such a strong strength. But now the facts are in front of us. After confirming that Fried was indeed dead, Xia Lin returned the Kong flame knife to the system warehouse. In the original book, Thighs Guy Fried, although only a small supporting role, should have survived 3 episodes. But the dog has reached the 3rd season, and his vitality is too tenacious, so after Xia Lin killed him, he raised his hand and made a bunch of flames. This is the basic magic he learned from Hajime Akino. And the lethality is not very good. But it is very useful to deal with corpses at this moment. The raging fire burned, and soon Fried's body was burned to ashes. After doing all this, Xia Lin looked at Asia and found that the little nun's eyes were a bit strange. What frightened Xia Lin asked lightly. As a saint who is teaching master, Asia is kind-hearted and will treat others in the most tender way. Even if the other party wants to hurt her, hearing this, Asia shook her head vigorously. Her confused eyes became firm and she said forcefully, Xia Lin did this to them to protect me. And they are also to blame, yes. Although your personality is a bit too kind. But there are clear grievances and grievances. I like you like this very much, Xia Lin laughed. And Asia blushed at Xia Lin's blunt words, and shyly avoided Xia Lin's eyes. Xia Lin took out her phone and checked the time. It's all right. I didn't delay too much time. Let's go back when I deal with the bodies of the 3 fallen angels. Okay, Asia nodded. Xia Lin casually threw the fire to the place where the 3 fallen angels lay dead, completely erasing the traces of the 3 fallen angels. Let's go after the flames were extinguished. Xia Lin and Asia walked down the mountain together. On the way, Asia lowered her head and followed Xia Lin like a daughter-in-law. She raised her head several times and opened her mouth to ask something. But the words came to her lips, swallowed them again, and then lowered her head. In this way repeated many times. Xia Lin is not blind, naturally noticed. What do you wish to ask? Seeing Asia's hesitant look, Xia Lin spoke directly. Xia Lin, did you already know what's going on here? Asia raised her head, her eyes filled with a different color. In the conversation between Xia Lin and Lanali just now, she also heard some news. For example, Xia Lin may know that there is a malicious fallen angel on the side of the church. Know a little, Xia Lin did not deny it. That's why you left me on the road and let me stay by your side. Asia didn't know what to make up her brains. She was moved to tears and looked at Xia Lin gratefully. For a time, Asia's favorability increased greatly. Xia Lin doesn't know what Asia has come up with. But it doesn't seem to be a bad thing, just let her think. That's Xia Lin. Asia crossed her fingers and said a little shyly, "What?" Xia Lin looked at Asia in surprise. "That's what you said before, does it count?" Asia asked nervously. What? Xia Lin expressed her puzzlement. Because she had talked a lot to the little nun, it's just being who you are and living with you. Asia blushed and stuttered in Asia's brain supplement. Maybe what Xia Lin said to her before was to keep her away from the church and away from fallen angel. And she had to say it for her safety. Therefore, Asia will have such concerns. Of course it's true. Of course there's nothing wrong with it. Xia Lin nodded but then changed the subject, but. Hearing this, the little nun immediately became tense and looked at Xia Lin nervously. If you encounter anything in the future, don't hide it in your heart, you must tell me right away. Understand, Xia Lin said. Oh, I see. The little nun received another wave of favorability. After getting off the church, the two got into the driver's brother's taxi again and headed to the city. I'll go shopping later. Let's go and have something to eat tonight. And I'll take you to a big dinner tomorrow. After getting off the bus, Xia Lin and Asia found an ordinary family restaurant and ordered 2 set menus. I have to say, 2 people. Xia Lin is not to mention, but Asia is really a big nerve. I have just experienced a lot of killing. But now I can still eat if it were an ordinary person. It is estimated that he would not be able to eat for several days. Really delicious after the waiter brought the food. Asia ate it in small bites with a happy smile on her face. If you like it, eat more, Xia Lin smiled. The food in this restaurant can only be said to be good. Not bad, but the little nun is a very easy to satisfy person. And even this level is enough to make her feel very delicious. Looking at Asia, who puffed out his cheeks like a little squirrel and was eating, Xia Lin also felt that his appetite suddenly improved. After dinner, Xia Lin took Asia to the supermarket to buy a complete set of daily necessities. Asia, do you have a cell phone? Forget it, I'm asking for nothing, let's buy a cell phone. When walking through the mobile phone store, Xia Lin took Asia in and picked out a woman's mobile phone. She went down one night and spent a lot of money, making Asia blame herself. However, after getting the phone, Asia held the phone and looked around like a curious baby. Although she knew about such a thing, she had never used it in church before. It seems that the task at night is quite heavy. Xia Lin smiled and muttered to herself. Not only to organize the room for Asia, but also to teach her how to use the mobile phone. When I got home from outside, it was past 9 o'clock in the evening. Xia Lin never imagined that it would take so much time to go shopping with a girl, even though she was already shopping at the fastest speed. After returning home, Xia Lin first introduced the layout of her home to Asia, and then started to help Asia organize the room. However, Asia has to tidy up the house by herself, not letting Xia Lin help and letting Xia Lin rest aside. Euphemistically, he has been taken in by Xia Lin. Although he does not know if he can help Xia Lin, he must do what he can at the beginning. Xia Lin was worried that Asia was a life idiot, after all. In the past so many years, Asia has been offered up by the church as a saint. In Xia Lin's cognition, the holy maiden should be clothed to reach out for food and open mouths. And there is someone to serve you as long as you do some work. You can live an enviable life like a worm. However, Asia said that her past life was not like this. As for things in life, she often did it herself. Therefore, housework is not difficult for Asia. Soon, Asia's room was taken care of. After finishing her room, Asia had a trace of sweat on her forehead. She looked at Xia Lin with a smile on her face and asked nervously, well, is there any other place in the house that needs to be cleaned? Do you need me to tidy up your room too? Xia Lin shook her head. In the evening, what kind of room are you tidying up? However, Xia Lin was moved by Asia's eagerness to prove that she had a role to play. And she probably felt a little uneasy. Help me tidy up tomorrow, go take a shower first. And I'll teach you how to use your phone later. Xia Lin ordered okay with Xia Lin's affirmation. Asia was obviously very happy. Went back to the room to get the pajamas and took a shower in the bathroom according to Xia Lin's instructions. When Asia came out of the bathroom, Xia Lin took a look and sighed in disappointment. The pajamas on Asia were brought from the church. They were long pajamas with skirts reaching to the heels. They were too conservative. Except for Asia's face, it was wrapped like a big zongzi. No. Well, Xia Lin, what's the problem? Seeing Xia Lin's disappointed look, Asia looked at her body and asked uneasy. Forgot to buy you some clothes, Xia Lin said. No, the clothes I brought are actually enough to wear. Asia immediately waved her hands. She had already spent a lot of money on Xia Lin in one night, and she felt very guilty. She really didn't want Xia Lin to spend any more money. It doesn't matter if you wear enough or not, but your pajamas are not eye-catching at all. Xia Lin thought for a while, then turned around and went back to his room. Asia was stunned, wondering why Xia Lin suddenly returned to the room. After a while, Xia Lin came out of the room with a piece of clothing in her hand. It's a white shirt, your pajamas are too old. Put on my clothes, I bought this dress and haven't worn it yet. I'll take you to buy some new clothes tomorrow. Xia Lin shamelessly made an excuse since I came to a new home. I naturally want to rebuild everything, oh good. Asia nodded inexplicably, then returned to the room with the white shirt in Xia Lin's hand, and changed the long skirt and pajamas. When Asia came out of the room, Xia Lin's eyes lit up. Sure enough, shirts are the best pajamas for girls. Asia lowered her head slightly. Her face was so red that she pulled down the corner of her clothes and walked towards Xia Lin in step. Obviously, Shuho has been living in the church. Has not passed through like this way of dressing. Coupled with Xia Lin's eyes, made her shy and a little happy at the same time. Xia Lin looked at Asia quite happily, and decided in her heart that she would let Asia wear this at home until she got tired of it. Bring it here, I'll teach you how to use it, Xia Lin. On the other hand, abandoned his distracting thoughts. This girl who was as pure as white paper. He didn't want to just eat her like this. Take her time to be king. Anyway, the meat in the bowl can't escape. Asia's comprehension skills are good. Even though I never used a mobile phone in the church, I quickly learned how to send emails and make calls, and how to surf the internet. Don't play too late, I'm going to bed too. After doing all this, looking at Asia who was fiddling with his mobile phone, Xia Lin instructed to take a shower and then go to bed. The next day, Xia Lin was awakened by a burst of alarms. Aquino didn't come, the big liar. Coming out of the room and seeing that there was no familiar breakfast on the table. Xia Lin resented Sukomi. Mingaming only said yesterday that he would come to take care of his own life. But he didn't come the next day as expected. I couldn't believe that women are big pig's hooves. To Xia Lin's surprise, Asia didn't get up either. After buying breakfast from outside, Xia Lin knocked on Asia's door and waited for a while before getting a response. Sorry, Xia Lin, I overslept. With sleepy eyes and dark circles on her eyes, Asia hurriedly opened the door. It's okay. I'll go to school, ladder wash up first and eat breakfast 99. Xia Lin burst out laughing and rubbed Asia's blonde hair, thinking that Asia might not be able to sleep well because of the new environment. After eating, Xia Lin was ready to go out under the reluctant gaze of Asia. If you feel sleepy, you can go to sleep for a while for lunch. There is food in the refrigerator, you can make it yourself. Or you can go out to eat. If you have anything, please call me. Remember not to run around. I'll go to the school today to see if I can get you to our school to go to school together. Xia Lin intends to ask Riaz for a small favor. Please. Go to school together. Asia looked at Xia Lin suspiciously. Would you like to go to school? Xia Lin asked. Well, as long as I can be with Xia Lin, I want to go to school. 33 Asia showed expectant eyes. I'm going out. After getting the answer, Xia Lin opened the door and set off. Be careful all the way. Asia watched Xia Lin leave, and only went back to the house and locked the door after Xia Lin disappeared. Xia Lin came to the school. It was still early. And there were more than 40 minutes before class. There were not many people in the class, so he chose to lie on the table and rest. Xia Lin, the minister, called us to the activity room. However, before the seat was hot, Taoju Kaneko came to him. "What's the matter so early in the morning?" Xia Lin was weird, but went to the occult research club with Taoju Kaneko. Riaz called them to the occult research club early in the morning, which made Xia Lin feel a little strange. "Do you know anything do not knows?" Taoju Kaneko shook her head. Also just got news from Riaz. So she came over and called Xia Lin together. Xia Lin took out her mobile phone and looked at it. She did receive a message from Riaz just a few minutes ago. But he just came to school and his mobile phone was muted. So he didn't pay attention and didn't see it. "Let's go." Xia Lin stood up and went to the occult research club with Taoju Kaneko. "You didn't call me yesterday." On the way, Taoju Kaneko whispered this sentence. Xia Lin felt a little light in her heart. No wonder she felt like she had forgotten something since yesterday. It turned out to be here yesterday at noon. I did say that I wanted to summon Taoju Kaneko. But because of the Asia business I was busy until the evening. And when it was over I just forgot about it. I was delayed by something so I forgot all of a sudden. Sorry, Xia Lin explained it briefly. Is it important? Taoju Kaneko stared at Xia Lin. Well, it's important 99. Xia Lin answered, got it. Taoju Kaneko nodded expressionlessly, his eyes softened. And walked forward on his own. It seems that you have forgiven him. Xia Lin couldn't help but be suspicious, talking so well. However, it seemed that Kaneko really didn't. And Xia Lin shrugged. Since the other party doesn't care about it. Of course he will not continue to take it to heart and walk with peace of mind. The two walked side by side to the old school building. Arriving at the door of the occult research club, Taoju Kaneko raised his finger and knocked on the door. Come in, Riaz's voice sounded. Xia Lin and Taoju Kaneko both walked in the event room. Riaz, Haimjima Aquino, and Kiba Yuyudo were already waiting here early. And Xia Lin and Taoju Kaneko were the last to arrive. It's all here when Riaz saw the two come in. She nodded slightly and looked serious. What's wrong, Minister? Taoju Kaneko asked. I'm also very curious, I gathered early in the morning. It must be something important happened, Riaz 22. Xia Lin looked at Riaz and said, okay. Riaz nodded. Unlike ordinary clubs, the Occult Research Club usually does not require members to assemble during the morning time. Obviously, there is something important to announce. Actually, I got news last night that a group of fallen angels secretly infiltrated Kuang Town. And they may be plotting something, Riaz said. Is this what it is? Xia Lin has the impulse of Tsukomi. And he was so serious early in the morning that he looked forward to it, thinking that something big was going to happen. It turned out to be fallen angel, fallen angel. Haimjima Aquino's brows flashed gloomily, fallen angel. Kiba Yuyudo's expression also seemed a little gloomy. Minister, what do you want to do? Taoju Kaneko asked. For the time being, leave them alone. We don't know what their purpose is. If you act rashly and cause a conflict between devil and fallen angel, the consequences will be very troublesome. But you guys, be careful when you go out recently. When on fallen angel, try not to conflict with them 99. Riaz ordered in the underworld. Devil and angel used to be the two forces in the three-way war, which can be said to be a feud, however recently. The two forces have temporarily chosen a truce, which is a tacit agreement reached by the top leaders of the two forces. Riaz would also feel embarrassed if the peace under this tacit understanding was broken due to a misjudgment. If the purpose of this group of fallen angels has nothing to do with their group of devils, Riaz intends to turn a blind eye. Another point is that Riaz just got the news that fallen angel had sneaked into Kuang Town and has not yet investigated the strength and number of these fallen angels. She didn't want her family to suffer, cough. Xia Lin coughed lightly, interrupting Riaz. Xia Lin, do you have anything to say? Riaz asked suspiciously. She still cares about Xia Lin's opinion. If you're saying we don't have a conflict with fallen angel, it's probably a little too late. Xia Lin spread her hands helplessly. What's wrong? Riaz looked at Xia Lin strangely, not quite understanding the meaning of this sentence. For flowers, zero because if I'm not mistaken. The fallen angel you're talking about should be the same batch that I met yesterday. Xia Lin stopped talking, and under the surprised eyes of everyone, he continued, they probably won't have a conflict with you. Why? Riaz was curious. I just killed them 99. Xia Lin fluttered out a sentence. Riaz looked at Xia Lin dumbly, just kill them off, listen. Is this human talk, fortunately after getting the news? I was always worried thinking about how to deal with it. Did you just get rid of it? What should I do? Can you tell me what's going on? Zero. Riaz sighed and said that although she didn't want to have a conflict with Fallen Angel, it had already happened and she was not one to hesitate. Just kill it, what's more, Wang Zhen is her territory. But Fallen Angel sneaked in secretly. If it is really a big deal, she is the one who takes the lead. Actually, nothing, just had some conflicts with them. And then it started to fight, Xia Lin said a word. And then explained what happened last night in general. You're saying that you had a conflict with them because of a nun. Then killed their stronghold and wiped them out. Riaz rubbed her temples, feeling really tired. You said that you were a human who mixed with devil. Because of the nuns of the church. You went to destroy Fallen Angel. The three forces have all taken over. Do you want to do this? Wrong, in fact there is no group destruction. I still let one go with kindness, Xia Lin skinned a bit. Of course, Xia Lin didn't say that she let go of that lowly fallen angel, because she was very discerning and thought she was handsome. What is the difference between this and the group destruction? It is better to directly destroy the group. And what about the nun who got you into conflict with Fallen Angel? Riaz asked helplessly. I just have one thing to ask you about her 99. Xia Lin said a little seriously, it's outrageous. Chapter 58 didn't write anything. And it's stuck until now. Finally, ask for the evaluation of Flower Collection 10. Open a teleportation array and go home directly. Xia Lin decided to use the teleportation array to go home and pick up Asia. Let me do it, Haimjima Aquino said. Xia Lin did not refuse. He had just mastered the teleportation formation. And the technique to describe the teleportation formation was a little more complicated than the teleportation formation that Haimjima Aquino directly used the devil's power to describe. Can save time, naturally save some time. Haimjima Aquino knew the location of Xia Lin's house and quickly set up a teleportation array. Xia Lin set foot on the teleportation array and returned to her home at once. Xia Lin, Asia in the living room, was startled, and then showed a look of joy, cleaning. Xia Lin glanced at a Siash was wearing a nun's dress, holding a cleaning tool in her hand, and her face was still ruddy. Well, I don't have anything to do at home, so I'm going to clean the house, Asia smiled. Go wipe your sweat first, and I'll take you to meet someone at school. Xia Lin said with a smile. You still have to rely on her to help you go to school, 99 okay. Hearing that it was about going to school, Asia immediately put down the tools in her hand, went to the bathroom to scrub, and then followed Xia Lin to the magic circle. By the way, I'll give you a vaccination first. The people you'll meet later are all devil. Xia Lin spoke abruptly, devil. Asia's eyes widened in surprise. How should I put it? He's still a good person, good devil. You don't have to worry about it. You can just treat it normally, Xia Lin comforted. Since Xia Lin said it, there must be no problem. Asia has unconditional trust in Xia Lin. The next moment, the two appeared in the Occult Research Club. When the two figures appeared, everyone's eyes fell on Asia. Looking at the blonde foreign girl, it sure looks good. Haimjima Aquino's tone was sour. Xia Lin-kun, it feels good to be a hero to save beauty. What are you doing, yin and yangs? Xia Lin rolled his eyes at Haimjima Aquino. Haimjima Aquino snorted softly and stared at Asia as if she was facing a big enemy, making Asia very uncomfortable. She was nervous already, but now she is even more nervous. Xia Lin asked me to help people with the admission procedures. This person is you, Riaz looked at Asia and said. Tell me about your identity. Although Xia Lin said that you are no longer a nun of the church, But if you still have contact with the church, I will not agree. Hey, fine, Asia nodded hurriedly. My name is Asia Algot. I have been expelled from the church. And now I am Xia Lin's lover, Xia Lin. As soon as Asia's voice fell, Xia Lin suddenly felt that the surrounding atmosphere had changed. Hajime Aquino and Taoju Kaneko both stared at him with a very dangerous look, while Riaz looked at him half-smile. As for Kiba Yuyud, he has always been a background board, and now he is also looking at Xia Lin and Asia with some curiosity. Well, what's wrong? Asia also noticed the changes in several people and spoke cautiously. Mr. Xia Lin, it turns out that you like this type of girl. No wonder you are not interested in us. Hajime Aquino immediately became aggrieved. I doubt that your confession to us was sincere at first. I just treated you as mission NPCs. Just brushing the missions. Of course, Xia Lin would not say such words. Xia Lin also felt a little big-head. If he hadn't known the plot and Asia's character, he would have suspected that Asia was a natural black. Well, did I say something wrong? Asia looked at Riaz and the others, and then looked at Xia Lin as if asking for help. Her pretty face was full of cute and puzzled expressions. Xia Lin sighed, guessing that even she herself didn't know what the consequences of the words just now would have. This made his own harem plan all of a sudden increased a difficulty. All of a sudden, isn't the image completely collapsed? No. Ria's tone is also a bit wrong. She now believes what Xia Lin said about the situation in Asia. Church nuns are generally abstinent because the moment they become nuns, they dedicate their lives to the Lord they believe in. But Asia was able to say that she was Xia Lin's lover with such a straight face. This kind of determination is not something a nun can have. Moreover, Asia's eyes are too clear. As clear as a pool of water, no. It is more accurate to say pure water that has been treated by various purification methods. There is no trace of impurities. 15. A girl who can have such clean and pure eyes is naturally impossible to tell lies. Riaz thinks she has some ability to see people. Except for Xia Lin, who can play with Hajime Aquino. She rarely misses out, therefore she now believes in Asia, and believes that Asia has no relationship with the church. However, is it too hasty to decide to be Xia Lin's lover like this? 9. Riaz gave Xia Lin a thoughtful look. No. Asia shook her head vigorously, her eyes full of firmness. I am willing. And Xia Lin is really good. Xia Lin helped me when I was most helpless, saved me, and took in Muho had nowhere to go, so that people like me could have a home. I am very grateful to him. In addition, I don't know how to repay him. Asia showed a happy smile. So do you like Xia Lin? Ria's eyes were more serious than ever. I like the feeling of being with him and with Xia Lin. I feel very happy. 39. Asia's eyes on Ria's were determined and serious. Okay. Ria's side looked at Xia Lin and said with a half-smile, Congratulations, Xia Lin. She has gained such a lovely little love. She is a beautiful blonde girl. It's good. The feeling of being a hero saving beauty must be good, right? Xia Lin-kun, Hajime Aquino looked at Xia Lin lightly. Come in. Taoju Kaneko spoke blankly. If you don't know how to use idioms, don't use them, okay? Xia Lin really wanted to teach this Sanwu Lolita after class. Asia, can you tell me where you got the word lover? Xia Lin laughed dryly and asked Asia. He didn't think that a Xiaoho lacked common sense, would know the meaning of the word lovers. Or maybe he hadn't even heard of the word, and even if Asia knows, shouldn't it normally be a girlfriend? Or furthermore, a fiancé? It was told to me by some well-meaning people on the internet. Asia's tone was full of a kind of exultation, like taking credit, and a hint of gratitude. There are really many kind people on the internet, and they told me a lot of things that I didn't know before. I know so well. Xia Lin felt a little regretful in her heart. She shouldn't have let a scythe little white rabbit get in touch with the internet so early. This is not directly pitted himself. Seeing the depressed expression on Xia Lin's face, Riaz felt an unprecedented ease when she met Xia Lin. It was the first time she saw his scratches. Riaz didn't think there was anything wrong with Asia's ideas. She was born in a devil noble family, and her knowledge and ideas since childhood were naturally devils. Let's put the matter between you and Xia Lin for a while. And tell me about your situation before. Riaz did not continue to dwell on the topic of lover. And said listen to Xia Lin. Your past experience is a bit complicated. And I want to hear from you about the specific situation. Although with Devil's intelligence system, you can easily find out about Asia's experience, however. Asia was brought by Xia Lin, and Riaz had regarded Xia Lin as a good friend at this moment. So she naturally did not want to learn about Asia in this way. It is naturally the best choice to be able to hear Asia explain in person. 99 hearing this. Asia's expression flashed a hint of loss. But she also nodded, sit down and talk. Riaz invited everyone to sit down. And Haimjima Aquino made a cup of tea in front of everyone. After everyone was seated, Asia began to talk about her past experiences. Asia Algot, born in Europe, was abandoned by his parents at birth and left at the door of the church. In addition to being a workplace for the clergy, this church also functions as an orphanage. The reason why her parents abandoned her is unknown. But Asia has never resented her irresponsible parents. Under such circumstances, Asia grew up under the nuns' nurturing hand since childhood. Under the influence of the people around her and the environment, she has cultivated a very pious heart of faith and has always believed in the one God. When Asia was 8 years old, a force resided in her. That is to be able to completely heal the wounded person and restore their original strength. Asia used this power to heal an injured puppy who was accidentally seen by church personnel. So far, Asia's life has changed. Asia was taken to the headquarters of the Catholic Church. And then she was pushed to the stage by the church people under the name of 500 saints with healing power. The church asked Asia to treat the discomfort of the visiting believers, euphemistically called God's blessing mouth. Because of this power, the name of the Saintess of Asia is also spread and worshipped in the church. Instead, Asia's own will was ignored, however. Asia is not dissatisfied with this, but is happy that his power can play a role. Asia is grateful to God for the ability to heal others. However, Ondea Siaho was a saint. Fell into hell completely because of this ability, because Asia met a wounded devil. Because of her innate gentle personality, she couldn't let this wounded devil go. So she treated this devil. And this scene also happened to be seen by church personnel who happened to pass by. How could the power of the Lord possibly heal devil? For this reason, Asia, who was dismissed as a saint by the church, was judged as a witch by the church, and was feared and abandoned by the church. Fortunately, this is in modern society. If it was in ancient times, Asia would not only be treated like this, but being burned at the stake would be light. With nowhere to go, Asia is forcibly sheltered by fallen angel. Then I met Xia Lin, it's pathetic 99. After listening to Taoju Kaniko, he could not help but abandon his previous prejudice against Asia. What a poor child, Haimjima Aquino looked at Asia with pity. And her eyes changed, Haimjima Aquino and Taoju Kaniko, who were originally hostile to Asia, couldn't help but feel sorry for this girl after hearing about Asia's experience. Just because he treated devil, he was expelled from the church. Riaz also looked at Asia with a complicated expression. With a different color in her eyes, Asia. Is it because you have a grudge against the church when you seek refuge with fallen angel? Obviously, there is no fault. Just because of the will of the church staff. His life has been completely rewritten. And he has been treated extremely unfairly in this case. As long as it is a person with a temper, I am afraid that there will be resentment in the heart. However, what surprised Riaz was that Asia shook her head. No, I'm grateful to the people in the church who raised the abandoned me and allowed me to grow up. Asia's expression is very clear. Without any false ingredients. Although they abandoned me in the end, I do not resent them. 39 Riaz was dumbfounded. No way, she's just that kind of person. Xia Lin sighed and said, fortunately, although she is too kind. She still has clear grievances. Goodness is not a mistake. Riaz did not deny Asia's kindness but said, I like this child a little bit, Xia Lin smiled. As long as a girl like Asia is a normal person, not a crazy maniac like Fried, she will have a good impression of her, and people will have the urge to care for her. Ria's reaction was also expected. Okay, Asia, welcome to Q Academy 99. Riaz held out her hand. Thank you very much. Asia was stunned for a moment, then immediately stood up gratefully and kept bowing. This child is too restrained. Riaz reluctantly supported Asia. Since you are Xia Lin's friend, you will be our friend in the future. I also hope you can treat us as friends, friend. Asia was at a loss in the past. Although she was a saint of the church, she always went out to support her, and the people around her were willing to support her. However, she is lonely because no friends. No one wants to be her friend because those who love her on the surface look at her with the attitude of looking at monsters behind the scenes, as if she was not a human being, but a creature capable of healing humans. Okay. Riaz nodded and then asked, It's about devil, you know. Yes, Xia Lin told me before. Asia nodded slightly. So after knowing who we are, can you treat us as friends? Riaz asked. I have always wanted to have friends. If you don't dislike it, I hope you can be my friends. Asia showed longing and then looked at Riaz very moved. Akia will be friends in the future besides Xia Lin. We are also your support, Riaz said with a gentle smile. Akakakak Asia was moved to tears. I'm Riaz Gremory, please give me more advice in the future. Riaz smiled gracefully and said her name. I'm Taoju Kaneko. If you have any trouble in the future, just ask me. I will definitely help you, Taoju Kaneko followed suit. I'm Kiba Yuyudo, please give me more advice in the future. With a kind smile, Kiba Yuyudo feels full of sunshine. I am Haimjima Aquino, I must communicate more in the future. 93 Haimjima Aquino smiled softly. Swept away the previous hostility. Felt very distressed for Asia. And wanted to take care of her more, Akakakak. Asia responded with delight. Riaz smiled. Then took out her mobile phone and made a call. Gave instructions to the person on the other side of the mobile phone. Then hung up the phone and said with a smile, the application for admission to Asia has been completed. And then it only needs to be done. Just go through some formalities. By the way, which grade are you going to in Asia? Riaz asked. Which grade? Asia tilted her head. Although she had studied before, she was taught jointly by the clergy in the church. And she did not go to school systematically. Can I be with Xia Lin? Asia asked. Want to take a class with Xia Lin? 99. Riaz smiled lightly and looked at Xia Lin. I have no problem. Xia Lin shrugged. I think it's better to be in the same class as Kaneko. After all, Xia Lin is a boy, a girl, and a girl in Asia. There are many inconveniences. If it is Kaneko, it is much more convenient to take care of. 33. Haimjima Aquino said lightly. I will definitely take good care of Asia and not let anyone bully her. Taoju Kaneko waved his fist and said energetically. Asia, what do you mean? Riaz looked at Asia and asked. Is that the same class as Xia Lin? Asia asked weakly. No, but Xia Lin's class is next door to me. Taoju Kaneko replied. Hearing this, Asia looked at Xia Lin for help. Xia Lin, what do you think? It would be more convenient to transfer Kaneko to your class. Riaz suggested, don't bother. Just let Asia and Kaneko be in the same class. And it's just next door, so if something happens, it's easy to notify. Xia Lin shook her head. It's been so many days since the school started. And the interpersonal network has been formed. If you change the class, no matter who you are will feel uncomfortable. Lays good. Besides Asia and Kaneko together, the two can also cultivate a friendship. Xia Lin originally wanted Asia to come out, not to stay at home and have her own circle of friends. Besides, I don't necessarily have time to take care of Asia. Then it was decided that Asia and Kaneko would be in the same class. 99 Riaz clapped her hands and settled down. Aquino. Take Asia to the academic affairs office to pick up the school uniform. Stop by and complete some formalities. Ria's is also a resolute stylist since it has been decided. Naturally, it is the first time to let AI enroll. Yes, yes. Hamjima Aquino agreed, then looked at Asia. Asia. Come with me. Seeing Asia's eyes look over, Xia Lin nodded. I really rely on Xia Lin. Hamjima Aquino. Please cover your mouth and laugh. And then leave the occult research club with Asia. I really didn't expect that those people in the church would expel such a child. Looking at the disappearing backs of Asia and Hamjima Aquino, Ria sighed. A kind-hearted girl is more suitable as a believer than any Catholic. And her piety is no worse than that of any Catholic. However, she actually knew it. Church believers in the only God. And devil is the enemy of the only God. Not protected by the only God, however. Asia's power can heal devil who is not protected by the only God. This power is no longer a blessing and gift from the Lord, but the so-called heresy power. It's ironic that the ability to heal devil appears in the body of a saint. Ria shook her head with a different look on her face and said to herself, but have you seen Asia again? Xia Lin was speechless seeing Ria's expression. He knew what Ria's was thinking. Well, since the church people are blind and expelled Asia, I am very welcome here. 99 Ria's had an elegant smile. Xia Lin let out a laugh. Although Asia is stupid and cute, she doesn't have much prejudice against devil. But it is very unlikely that she will be reincarnated as devil. Asia usually looks soft in character, but 503 is unusually firm in some things. In the original plot, being able to reincarnate into a devil and be accepted as a dependent by Ria's is largely due to Linali's credit. As long as you can convince Asia, I don't care. But I won't help you, Xia Lin replied, in fact impartiality. Perhaps in the eyes of most devils, family members are just servants. However, in Lilia's she was treated like family. Asia will not be wronged, worry I'm Ria's Gremory. And I'll be able to make Asia willing to be my family. 22. Ria's gave Xia Lin a confident and provocative glance. You think everyone is the same as you. And it is a tough bone to crack. Seeing this, Xia Lin shrugged. After about 10 minutes, Hamjima Aquino came back with Asia. And Asia had also changed out of the gorgeous-looking nun uniform and put on the school uniform of Q Academy. Yes, it suits you well, Xia Lin complimented casually. Wearing the school uniform, Asia, with a hint of youth in its purities, full of charm. Girls of this age, wearing this kind of youthful clothing is the most suitable. BFBA. Nun clothes or something it is too old-fashioned. That thank you. Asia smiled, blushing and bowing her head. Kaneko, Asia is up to you, Ria's ordered, worry. Minister, if someone dares to bully Asia, I will definitely beat him up. Taoju, Kaneko said with a firm look. Next, Xia Lin went back to the classroom alone. And Taoju Kaneko took Asia to Sensei's office to explain some transfer students. Soon the bell rang for the afternoon class. Sitting on the desk in a more comfortable position, Xia Lin finished the class board. And just after the get out of class, he heard that the boys in the class seemed to have a heated discussion topic. I heard that a transfer student came next door. I just took a look at super cute 99 yeah. It's a beautiful blonde girler, a foreigner. She looks super pure. The next class is so happy. With the mascot Taoju Kaneko. There is another beautiful girl transfer student. The boys were discussing excitedly and could not wait to transfer to the next door. Xia Lin listened for a while and already guessed that it was the matter of Asia's admission. It was also his expectation that this would happen. With Asia's appearance, it would be abnormal if it didn't attract the attention of the boys. Xia Lin doesn't particularly care about male gods discussing Asia. As long as these boys don't have any rude tactics. Xia Lin had no interest in this either. And lay down on the table to rest. Xia Lin, you are really special, his roommate, Ryuko Nimura, family member of Shitori Sona, looked at Xia Lin with admiration. What's wrong? 11. Xia Lin asked suspiciously. It's obvious that the boys in the class are discussing the transfer student from the next class. But Xia Lin doesn't seem to be interested. Renkun Liuliuzi approached Xia Lin and whispered, "There are a lot of boys outside the next class. All of them came to see the transfer student. When I went to the toilet just now, I took a peek at a super cute girl. How does it compare to you?" Xia Lin asked with a smile. Being stared at by Xia Lin, Renkun Liuliuzi blushed. "How can I compare to her, really?" "You're cute too, though," Xia Lin said something lightly, which made the little roommate blush again. "Actually, I know the beautiful girl transfer student. She lives in my house. I can see her every day in the future." Xia Lin told the truth is. Namura Liuliu looked at Xia Lin dumbly, and then burst out laughing. "Xia Lin, you are really humorous. No wonder you are so popular among girls. I heard that the transfer student was a foreigner, and I heard that he just came from Europe. How could he know?" Xia Lin. Namura Ryuko obviously didn't believe it, and patted Xia Lin's shoulder in a funny way, taking Xia Lin's words as a bragging joke. "Don't believe it." Xia Lin was speechless, and no one believed the truth. She knew that when she came back at noon. She came with Taoju Kaneko and the others. "Also, your laugh is too low." Well, I believe it 99. Renkun Liuliuzi still couldn't hold a smile on his face, which made Xia Lin even more speechless. It was really rare for a girl with such a low laugh. Or what he said was really funny. Xia Lin also wanted to tease this deskmate who had a low laugh, when suddenly a system prompt sounded in her mind. Ding. System announcement. It is detected that the host has completed a certain task. The copy function will be launched soon, and an upgrade will be carried out for 12 hours. During the upgrade times, the system will suspend some functions, unable to publish tasks and unable to use the system mall. The upgrade is complete after that. The system functions will be restored. Please wait patiently for the host. 99 new feature copy. Xia Lin was startled. In the copy, the host can get a lot of points. The system gave a short answer integral. Seems like this new feature is good. After being interrupted by the system, Xia Lin no longer wanted to tease her deskmate, and silently passed the time waiting for the system to open. Xia Lin, as soon as the school bell rang. Asia couldn't wait to arrive at the door of Xia Lin's classroom, followed by Taoju Kaneko next to her. "Well, let's go home early today," Xia Lin nodded, stood up from her seat, then silently patted Renmura Ryuko on the shoulder, and walked towards Asia and the others under the shocked gaze of her little classmate. The little fellow at the table opened his mouth with an unbelievable look, looked at Xia Lin's back and murmured, "You actually know each other?" Ask for flowers. Asia, how do you feel about having classes in the afternoon? Coming out of the classroom, Xia Lin ignored the envy and hatred of the classmates, walked with a seond prepared to leave the school. Very good, the students in the class are very enthusiastic. Asia's face is filled with a happy smile. This is a smile from the heart and there is no falsehood. It looks like school life, you get used to it very quickly. Not bad, Xia Lin praised her. Reached out and rubbed Asia's head, causing her to bow her head shyly. I have a good look at Asia. And if anyone with bad intentions approaches her, I will beat them up, Taoju Kaneko said aside. As soon as Asia changed schools, it caused a big craze. Naturally, many people would take the initiative to approach Kaneko, including boys and girls, of course. There are pure and impure purposes in these people. If the purpose is not pure, it may take advantage of this chaotic situation to do some strange things. As a popular idol, Taoju Kaneko must have such an experience. But with her strength, if someone dares to do this, they will really be beaten up. It seems that Xia Lin has really heard the news that Taoju Kaneko beat up the trapeze at school when the school just started. Kaneko-chan helped me a lot and introduced many friends to me. 99 Asia also said gratefully with a smile. Well, thank you, Kaneko. Retracting the hand rubbing Asia's head, Xia Lin smiled and rubbed Kaneko's head subconsciously. But the moment she touched Kaneko's head, Xia Lin felt that something was wrong. It seemed that Kaneko didn't like others touching her head. You are welcome. Taoju Kaneko showed an expression of enjoyment for a moment, but soon changed to a cold look warning, next time. Don't touch my head without permission 93. Sorry, can't help it. Xia Lin's heart moved. Not only is he not allowed to touch it, does he mean that as long as he asks you? You can touch it when you allow it. I'll forgive you this time. Taoju Kaneko nodded with satisfaction. And when Xia Lin's palm left, they seemed a little reluctant. But San Wudi's expression and cold eyes couldn't tell outsiders at all. I'm going to the occult research club. Are you two going together? Taoju Kaneko asked. No, I plan to take Asia to buy something. Xia Lin shook her head. Okay, then I'll go first 99. Taoju Kaneko was about to turn around, but stared at Xia Lin seriously. You haven't forgotten. Xia Lin nodded, knowing what Taoju Kaneko was talking about. Don't worry, the first thing I do when I get home is to call you. This time I will never forget it. Well, I don't have any other tasks today. Hearing this, Taoju Kaneko was relieved and turned to leave. Xia Lin smiled. Taoju Kaneko's words, the implication. We'll also respond to his call as soon as possible. Seeing Taoju Kaneko leave, Xia Lin also left Kuo Academy with Asia and went to the nearest shopping mall. Along the way, Asia has attracted the attention of many people. However, Asia doesn't seem to be surprised by this, and there is no nervous look at all at the time of the church. Asia was worshipped as a saint and attracted much attention. And now some believers show the power of the smile of the Virgin in front of some believers. Compared with the situation at that time, this situation is now insignificant. So Asia simply doesn't notice how attractive it is. On the other hand, Xia Lin was cast a lot of envious, jealous and hateful eyes. However, Xia Lin didn't care at all. He also took Asia's hand leisurely and strolled around the mall. Seeing those boys grit their teeth. Just buy one or two, I can't wear that many. Being dragged to the women's clothing store by Xia Lin. Asia kept waving her hands when she saw the terrifying number of clothes that Xia Lin picked. Although Xia Lin told Asia yesterday that she would take her to buy some clothes. But Asia's Anuni's used to being frugal. And seeing Xia Lin's style of buying when she sees it. She can't bear it. Your clothes are too few. And they're all old church clothes, Xia Lin said with a smile. And now I'm going to school and I've made a lot of friends. In the future I will definitely go shopping with my friends. Do you always wear one or two clothes? Okay. Asia still yearns for going shopping with friends. Xia Lin's words made her unable to refuse. So she could only watch Xia Lin choose clothes one by one with distress. 0. Go try them all and buy them if they fit. Xia Lin waved his hand very generously. And the salesperson next to him looked brilliant. Asia hesitated for a while, then was forced into the fitting room by Xia Lin. Not bad 99. When Asia came out after changing her clothes, Xia Lin could not help but nod her head in satisfaction as she pinched the corner of her clothes and lowered her head. Asia's body was petite and slender, but she was also a clothes rack. After trying one by one, it took almost half an hour. Xia Lin directly swiped the card to buy all the suitable clothes. Looking at the large and small bags of clothes, the little nun was moved and blamed herself. 0. Go to the supermarket to buy some food and make a big meal tonight. Xia Lin originally planned to find a luxurious restaurant for dinner, but thinking that she would have to summon Kaneko later, she decided to go home and cook. Xia Lin has always lived alone. And when she didn't know about the existence of Kuang Town, she even went to learn how to cook. As for why, of course it was for a good high school life. Therefore, Xia Lin's cooking skills are still good, but he usually doesn't like to do it. It was almost 5:30 when I got home from the supermarket. Asia, go wash the dishes first, it is good. The two put things away. Xia Lin went back to the bedroom and took out the summoning card Kaneko gave him from the bedside table. The use of summoning cards is very simple and requires no magic power. Just call in your heart. Xia Lin held the card and read it silently in her heart. The next moment, a light suddenly filled the entire room, and a slowly rotating magic circle appeared in the center of the room. However, What surprised me was that Taoju Kaneko was not the only figure in the magic circle, but a full 4 I stabbed Devil's Den. Seeing all the members of the Occult Research Club coming, Xia Lin couldn't help but twitch. Tsukomi said 10. Stepping out of the magic circle, Rias greeted gracefully. It's Xia Lin's room again. Haimjima Aquino waved with a smile, excuse me. Kiba Yuyudo bowed slightly towards Xia Lin, very polite. 19s. Taoju Kaneko is still faceless as always and doesn't talk much. Why are you all here? Seeing how the few people were familiar with the road, Xia Lin said speechlessly, a surprise for you. Haimjima Aquino blinked playfully, is such that. Taoju Kaneko began to explain. Because I said I would come to your house tonight. The minister decided to come and give Asia a welcome party. Welcome party. Xia Lin noticed that several people did not come empty-handed. Kiba Yuyudo was carrying several plastic bags, which were full in a cake box. Is this being dragged to be a coolie, moreover? With my summons you will come in large and small packages. Get ready, Asia has just come to Wangshan. And she has experienced that kind of thing 503. So we plan to give her a clean up. At least with a pleasant welcome to make her forget the unpleasant past. Rias explained with a smile, okay. Xia Lin nodded and said helplessly, actually. I also bought a lot of ingredients tade plus yours. It is estimated that it will take too much time to prepare. So let's eat hot pot directly, well then it's decided 99. Haimjima Aquino replied with a smile after speaking. Several people walked out of the room with bags. Minister Rias Haimjima Aquino senpai Kiba senpai. And Kaneko-chan, are you here after Asia? Who was washing vegetables in the kitchen saw everyone. She looked surprised. And she was very happy to see a few people. Good evening, little Asia. Haimjima Aquino waved her hand gently with a gentle smile. And said, we are here to prepare a newcomer welcome party for you. Welcome party, Asia looked at a few people suspiciously. Give someone like me, Asia. Don't underestimate yourself. Didn't you say we're friends? Rias walked over and gave Asia a hug very gently. Leave it to us next, Haimjima Aquino walked into the kitchen. Took out his apron very skillfully and put it on. I was going to cook today, but it looks like I don't need it anymore. Xia Lin said with a smile, there are so many things. It will take a while to prepare them. You and Kaneko-chan will play games for a while. And the kitchen will be handed over to us. Haimjima Aquino did not plan to let Xia Lin help. And pushed Xia Lin back to the bedroom. Xia Lin shrugged. Someone willing to cook is naturally good. He took out all the games he bought before, didn't you play? Seeing the intact box, Taoju Kaneko asked. I'm going to wait for you to come and play together. Xia Lin smiled and took out a game box. How about this? Its previous work was well received, it is good. Taoju Kaneko flashed a strange look in her golden pupils. She nodded. These were all games she wanted to play. And it didn't matter which one to play first. Taoju Kaneko and Xia Lin disassembled the game and played for a while. And Haimjima Aquino almost prepared the hot pot. Then there is the welcome party. The welcome party didn't end until 11 o'clock. After picking up the trash, everyone went home, so happy. Asia has a very happy smile on her face. It will always be like this in the future. Xia Lin comforted. The next day, Xia Lin and Asia went to class as usual. By the afternoon, the silent system finally woke up again. Ding, the system has been updated. And the copy function is enabled, please check it yourself. 99s. The cold voice of the system machinery made Xia Lin very excited at the moment. I've been looking forward to an update all night. And it's finally over. Xia Lin entered the system consciously. Clicked on the system panel. And there was an option of Dungeon World on it. Xia Lin didn't even think about it. Just clicked on Dungeon World 0. After clicking, there are a series of system prompts. 1. In the Dungeon Worlds, the host can get a lot of points through tasks. 2. The time ratio of the Dungeon World and the time of the main world is different. The initial time ratio is 10:1. The 10-day time of the Dungeon World is equivalent to 1 day of the main world. You can adjust the world time flow ratio by spending points. 3. In the dungeon world, the first 10 days are free. After 10 days, if the host wants to stay in the dungeon world, it needs to spend points. 4. In the dungeon world, the initial identity of the host is a black household, and the place of arrival is random, with a high probability of being a plot location. And the identity and place of arrival can be changed through points. Point 5. The dungeon world starts with 5 worlds. You can refresh the dungeon world through points, or you can wait for a free refresh. The free refresh time is 15 days. 6. The dungeon world that the host has entered can be transferred to the historical record, and it does not need to be refreshed again, and can be re-entered through the historical record. 7. After the host leaves the dungeon world, the dungeon world will enter a cooling down period for 10 days. And after 10 days, the host can enter the new or historical dungeon world again. After reading the series of precautions, with a move of consciousness, the page of precautions was closed, and Xia Lin saw the copy world. A total of 5 dungeon worlds are presented. The spirit of eating halberds. My youth love story is really problems. How to develop a passerby heroine. 5 equal love. Secondary sickness also has to fall in love. Glancing at the names of the 5 dungeon worlds, Xia Lin couldn't help showing a weird look. Isn't it right? You are a combat system anyway. Why are all of them some love worlds? Fighting and love are inseparable. The system gave Xia Lin a reason that made Xia Lin even more speechless, but couldn't refute it. Xia Lin's face was a little dark. Love is love. But what the hell are you all about the everyday world? I am now a person who can torture middle and lower level gods and demons to death. What would I do in such a world? Continue to do your old job and be a copywriter. There is a fart you can spend points to refresh, and each refresh will cost 500 points. And the refreshed world may have a higher world. The system answers again. What advantages does the higher world have? Xia Lin asked. Of course, you don't have to guess to know that the higher world must be much better than the rewards in this everyday world. Just want a confirmation. Quest rewards and points will be higher than the daily world. 99s. There was no difference between the system's answer and Xia Lin's guess. Refresh. Xia Lin took a deep breath and only accumulated more than 1,000 points. And now it is estimated that it will be gone again. After deducting 500 points, the dungeon world has been refreshed. Please check it yourself. Xia Lin took another look at the new copy world. Day on campus kissing sister light voice girl. Secondary sickness also has to fall in love. How to develop a passerby heroine. Xia Lin's face was a little dark, and it was refreshed once and it was all daily. And there were 2 repetitions, but when she saw the day on campus, Xia Lin hesitated. Should she go in and be a bulldozer? The girls inside seemed to be pretty good, especially Guiyana, goddess of childhood, of course. This idea just flashed by. Xia Lin said again with a dark face, refresh 9. The points in his hand are only enough to refresh twice. If a suitable world is not created again, he can only wait for the free refresh 1. 0 or dial the points for future tasks. After deducting 500 points, the dungeon world has been refreshed. Please check it yourself. Xia Lin's eyes fell on the new copy world again. High School of the Dead. My sister can't be this cute. I have few friends love bubblegum. Threesome must have my sister grass. Xia Lin couldn't help but swear. 1,000 points was just lost, which made Xia Lin feel quite depressed. Looking at the 5 newly refreshed dungeon worlds, Xia Lin was very unhappy, and it was the everyday world again. However, there is a world in it that is a bit different from the rest. Bloody Apocalypse Daily. It's everyday. High School of the Dead. Old man in the end. Xia Lin pinched her nose and chose School Apocalypse. After all, the first 10 days are free. If you don't go in and earn points, you will be truly ashamed of the 1,000 points that the system has eaten. This dungeon is very short. It is estimated that there are only about 20 or 30 chapters. It can be regarded as a transition. After deciding to enter the world of Apocalypse of the Academy, Xia Lin went to take a day off with Sense, and then ordered a few words with Asia. After all, one day to be away. Now that their personal network has been established, if they suddenly disappear for a day, it is estimated that they will be worried, and it will be very troublesome to explain. After arranging all this, Xia Lin found a place with no one, called the system in his heart, clicked on the dungeon interface, and prepared to enter School Apocalypse. Do you want to enter the dungeon world Academic Apocalypse? The system beep sounds enter. As the voice fell, Xia Lin disappeared in place. His eyes turned black and white, and when he opened his eyes again, Xia Lin found himself standing at a high place. The wind whistled in his ears, ding. I have entered the dungeon world School Apocalypse. Start to detect the copy world and generate new tasks. The task is being generated, please wait. The task is updated, please check it yourself. A series of operations in the system made Xia Lin 15 temporarily ignore his own situation and put his consciousness on the task panel of the system. Main Quest 1 Dead Body Hunter. Mission requirements, please kill 100 dead bodies. Mission difficulty, easy. Mission rewards, get 100 points. Each time you kill a dead body to get points, up to 100 points. Main Quest 2 Dead Body Killer. Mission requirements, please kill 1,000 dead bodies. Mission difficulty, easy. Mission rewards, get 0 points, and you can get 1 point for every dead body killed, up to 0 points. Main Quest 3 Dead Body Exterminator. Mission requirements, please kill 10,000 dead bodies. Mission difficulty, normal. Mission rewards, get 0 points, get 1 point for every dead body, up to 0 points, get a chance to draw a lottery. And get the title Dead Body Exterminator. Main Quest 4 The Savior in the Eyes of Everyone. Mission requirements, please rescue at least 50 survivors in the form of protection and let them survive for at least 3 days. Mission difficulty, normal. Mission reward, get a chance to draw a lottery. Get a primary magic source boost. And get 50 points for each survivor you save, up to 500 points. Looking at the quest rewards hanging on the system panel, Xia Lin only had one thought in his mind at the moment. You can't escape the true fragrance law even if you cross it. Originally, I just thought that all the points were spent. Don't waste it, the first 10 days are free anyway. Taking advantage of the free time. Earn a little bit of points in the dungeon world. If you can earn a little bit, you will have to get back a little bit, however. I didn't expect the quest rewards to be so generous. It just made a lot of money, didn't it? It's just that an apocalyptic sci-fi world like Academic Apocalypse can get so many points. If it is a more advanced world, wouldn't it be more terrifying, however? Xia Lin couldn't help but feel a pain when thinking about the chance of the dungeon world being refreshed. The chance of getting out of the higher world was too small. Fortunately, after this dungeon world, his points should not be so shy. As long as all the tasks are completed, Xia Lin will have more than 20,000 points. Enough to refresh dozens of times 10. The fourth main task is interesting. Are you sure the system is not embarrassing me? Looking at Main Quest 4, The Savior in Everyone's Eyes, Xia Lin frowned. The first 3 quests are very suitable for Xia Lin's appetite. As long as you hack and slash, there are no restrictions at all. At most, task of Dead Body Exterminator, killing 0 dead bodies takes a little time. However, the fourth main task is to save people. In the world of Doomsday, the task of saving people is quite common. For Xia Lin, it is not difficult to save people. What does the system in the form of protection operate? 99 Xia Lin asked, do not use some extreme means. You need to let the rescued agree. The system gave the answer, Xia Lin is helpless. The system tasks are really arranged impeccably. He also thought about knocking 50 people unconscious and throwing them into a warehouse, and then guarding them for 3 days. Anyway, zombies are easy to kill. But now it seems that the system wants to bring these people to play Doomsday. Xia Lin knew very well that in this apocalyptic world, saving people was a thankless task. There might even be some white-eyed wolves, however. Looking at the reward, Xia Lin hesitated for a while. A lottery draw, plus an upgrade of the primary magic power source and 500 points. If such a reward is given up, it would be a great loss. Forget it if something like this happens. Just do it directly, then Xia Lin made up her mind. The mission must not be given up. And it is possible to save people. But if something unpleasant happens, Xia Lin will not be lenient, he has kindness. But there is no need to exert kindness on some unnecessary people. Outside, a loud noise brought his thoughts back. In Xia Lin's ears the wind whistled. And there were screams and roars. Only then did Xia Lin realize that she seemed to be teleported to the roof. And it was still on the half floor covered by the roof. With a wide line of sight, he glanced down. It's already been messed up, is this Fujimi garden. Standing on the roof, thighs is facing the school gate. And in this open space from the gate to the teaching building, there are swaying figures. It is already a human being who has become a dead body. And the clothes on these dead bodies made Xia Lin feel familiar for a while. It is the school uniform of Fujimi Garden at the beginning of the plot. Not surprising. It seems that there is an item in the precautions of the dungeon world. The arrival location is randomly transmitted, and the probability is in the plot location. If you clean up the dead bodies in School 503, you should be able to complete the first 2 tasks. A flash of light flashed in Xia Lin's hand, and the Kong flame knife appeared in his hand. Fujimi Garden is a private high school with a large number of students. Plus the faculty and staff, there are still a lot of people. Of course, it will definitely not reach tens of thousands. But there are definitely thousands. This amount is enough for Xia Lin to complete the first 2 tasks. Moreover, there should be a lot of living people in the school, who may be able to do the 4th task, by the way. Compared with the adults in the society, the white-eyed wolves in the students may be a little less. Looking at the dead body wandering below, Xia Lin planned to jump down from the upstairs. However, suddenly a girl's scream came from her ear. Xia Lin paused and glanced at the rooftop under her feet. Her eyes were all downstairs just now. But she didn't notice a living person on the rooftop at the first time. 2 men and 1 woman, all are students. Stop it, stop it. The girl was desperate and screamed hoarsely. In front of the girls, one of the boys had a baseball bat in his hand and was rushing towards the other, ready to swing the bat on his head. Xia Lin quickly recognized several people under her feet. The bitter master Kamuro Taka, Miyamoto Rei, and her hapless dead boyfriend Jing Haeyang. Isn't this the opening scene? Xia Lin's memory came flooding up all at once. Leave people behind, Xia Lin shouted to the bottom. Let's stay, Xia Lin stood on the top platform and shouted. But it seems it's too late. Kamuro Takaguchi roared and rushed in front of Jing Haeyang in grief and indignation, waving the baseball bat in his hand, and smashed it hard on his head with a cracking sound. Jing Haeyang's wobbly body fell down with a bang, slamming on the ground on the rooftop. Without even twitching, fell on the ground motionless, completely dead forever. Seeing this scene, Miyamoto Rei cried out hysterically, stumbled to Jing Haeyang's side, knelt down, and looked at Jing Haeyang, who had fallen to the ground and had no breath. You wake up. Miyamoto Rei's eyes were dull. She stretched out her hand and pushed Jing Haeyang gently. The expression on her face was a bit weird, like crying and laughing. She didn't believe that Jing Hao was dead. Xia Lin jumped lightly and landed on the rooftop. Who are you compared with the desperate Miyamoto Rei? Kamuro Takaya was much calmer, holding a bloody baseball bat in his hand, cautiously watching Xia Lin, who suddenly appeared. It's dead, there's no help. Xia Lin ignored Kamuro Takaya, walked to Jing Haeyang's side, squatted down to check, shook his head and said regretfully, Jing Haeyang died a bit miserable, except for the wound that was bitten by the dead body. Zio's blow just cracked his skull, and his brain was knocked out, and the red and white flowed all over the floor. Miyamoto Rei glanced at Xia Lin with a sullen face, not knowing if she heard it. If it's not dead, maybe I can save it. Xia Lin stared at Jing Haeyang's corpse and said after thinking for a while. Primary healing technique and primary purification technique. These two skills have not been used since they were obtained. Xia Lin also wanted to see if the two magics could remove the zombie virus. After all, Jing Hao had not completely turned into a zombie. Maybe it can be done. No matter how bad it is, you can use the Eye of Death. It's you, these words seemed to set a dynamite keg on fire. And Miyamoto Rei's dead eyes suddenly recovered. And she turned her head suddenly to look at Kamuro Takaya. You killed Yang. Miyamoto Rei vented hysterically at Kamuro Takaya. Her eyes filled with hatred. If it wasn't for you, he would never. Diha could be rescued. Kamuro Takaya's head was getting bigger. His hand holding the baseball bat trembled slightly. And he looked at Miyamoto Rei in disbelief. He didn't expect his childhood sweetheart and ex-girlfriend to look at him with such a look. Heartache so bad I can't breathe, however. He couldn't be angry with Miyamoto Rei. So he naturally turned his depression to Xia Lin. This strange guy appeared out of nowhere. It was because of his words that Miyamoto Rei hated him. Lei, do you really believe what he said? Takao Kamuro endured the anger in his heart and said to Miyamoto Rei in a low voice, a guy who came out of nowhere. Just said that he can save Yang. You really believe what he said? Am I so untrustworthy? Hearing this, Miyamoto Rei's hatred expression was shaken a little, and she looked at Kamuro Takaya with scattered eyes. Looking at his dress, he should not be a student of our school. Yang was bitten by those things. You have seen a movie. After being bitten by this kind of thing, you will become one of them and there is no way to recover. Do you really think he can save Yang? Miyamoto Rei was slightly stunned by Kamuro Taka's voice, and her eyes became shaken when she looked at him. Zombie movies, this world naturally exists. After being bitten by a zombie, there will be irreversible changes, becoming bloodthirsty zombies and no longer human. Even the top scientists have no way to restore zombies to adults. A student. Is there really a way to save a problem that even top scientists can't figure out? Xia Lin glanced at Kamuro Takaya. He was not particularly concerned about the relationship between Kamuro Takaya and Miyamoto Rei. Nor was he very interested in Miyamoto Rei, but now. Xia Lin sneered in her heart, don't blame him. Lao Xia next door is online. At least I will try to save him instead of killing him in such an extreme way. Xia Lin was another fluffy sentence. And all of Xia Muro's efforts were all in vain. Takao Kamuro's words were blocked to the point of being distracted, especially when he saw that Miyamoto Rei's gaze towards him became even more terrifying. And even felt dizzy and the world was spinning. You have a grudge against this dead man. Xia Lin spoke again, what nonsense, he's my good friend. Xia Muro scolded him angrily. Although Jing Hao had greened him forever, he was still a good friend in his heart. It turned out to be a good friend, sorry. Maybe I made a mistake, 39. Xia Lin apologized insincerely. Then looked at the dead Jing Haeyang and said to himself, although the hardness of the human skull is only a little harder than that of bamboo, it is very tough if you want to break a skull. It is generally very difficult for people without special training to do it. Even with a weapon like a baseball bat, it is difficult for ordinary people to break the skull butt. Xia Lin looked at Jing Haeyang, who was lying on the corpse, and hesitate, but Jing Haeyang's skull was shattered, and his brains flowed to the ground. Xia Lin's words did not continue, but Miyamoto Rei already understood. Because of the hate shot, it is so gravitational and so ruthless. Yeah, I know, Miyamoto Rei suddenly spoke up. With a tragic smile on her face, you must hate Yang. Miyamoto Lixun smiled and looked at Kamuro Takaya. Because I'm with him you hate him, that's why you kill him. Kamuro Takashi felt that his whole body was about to split. It turns out that there is such a complicated relationship between you. No wonder. Xia Lin touched his chin and said thoughtfully. Love triangle, the bitter master and the old man next door. It's not a brother or a person. It's just that the sister-in-law is too charming. Even though he is only a high school student, he has rich experiences that many adults do not have. Xia Lin sincerely admires it, shut up. Komuro Takaya was going crazy, and his body was shaking with anger. You said you could save him. Why would you save him just with your mouth? There are no tools, no medical equipment, and no medicine here. How can you save him? He was bitten by that kind of thing. Xiaomuro gritted his teeth and glared at Xia Lin angrily. Wishing to give him a bite, you were on the top just now. You couldn't have known we were Herites. Since you wanted to save him, why did you just, instead of stopping me sooner, accuse me now? Thoughts are moving fast. Xia Lin couldn't help but look at Xiaomuro Takahashi. Are you questioning me? Xia Lin sneered and looked at Xiaomuro coldly. In fact, he doesn't like Sun very much for the male lead. Because compared to male protagonists in other worlds, Komuro Takayuki doesn't seem to have any special abilities other than his passion. Even the dead Jing Haeyang was 100 times better than him. Jing Haeyang is also unlucky. He clearly has the potential to be the protagonist. But he doesn't have the protagonist's fortune. And he fails at the beginning. Xia Lin still felt pity for him in the plot. After Jing Haeyang learned that the zombies were attacking, his first thought was not to choose to escape like Komuro Takaya, but to look for weapons and fire sources. And he did not show his face in the face of the zombies, but just kill it. He showed calm judgment, clear thinking, resolute courage, and decent force, all of which are standard for male protagonists. If he didn't die prematurely, it is estimated that this guy Komuro Takaya would soon become a background. It's a pity that Jing Haeyang has the abilities of various protagonists, but he doesn't have the luck of the protagonist and died too early, being stared at by Xia Lin's cold eyes. Komuro Takahashi couldn't help but feel a fear in his heart, but he was quickly swept away by anger. So he endured the fear and looked at Xia Lin. Komuro Takaya was very proud in his heart, and had an indescribable sense of happiness. Seeing that Xia Lin did not answer his question directly, he thought that Xia Lin was stumped by his question. Say it. Komuro Taka asked loudly. Apart from saying that you will save Yang, what else would you do? You actually did nothing. Just watching all this happen, you didn't even think about saving Yang. You seem to have made a mistake. Xia Lin's attitude is calm, but her expression is very cold, which makes Xiaoshi Tako have the urge to turn around and flee. First, I have no obligation to save anyone. I want to save this person just because I want to. And it's not necessary to save. I have my own way of saving people. And I don't necessarily need to rely on equipment. Even if I need to rely on equipment, I will temporarily control people and wait until later instead of killing them directly. 99 I have been on it all the time, but I was resting on it. And I was woken up by you until it was too noisy. So I didn't notice your situation before. Thirdly, I should have just shouted the words, stay under the bar 507. My voice should still be very loud although the roof is windy. But I don't believe that my voice spreads even in such a place here. This classmate should have heard it too, right? Xia Lin looked at Miyamoto Rei. I heard. Miyamoto Rei nodded heavily and looked at Komuro Takaya with an angry look. It was obvious that the other party called him to stop, and even she heard it. But Komuro Takahashi still made a heavy hand. I don't know if you really didn't hear it, or if you just pretended not to hear it, but... Xia Lin suddenly took a step towards Komuro Takaya and quickly crossed the distance between the two. Komuro Takahashi instinctively stepped back. After all, Xia Lin's eyes were too scary, and he was holding a weird samurai sword in his hand. Snapped. Xia Lin raised her hand and slapped Xiaomuro's face with a slap, and asked coldly, who gave you the courage to question me? 99. You. Komuro Takaya was beaten with gold stars. Fortunately, Xia Lin didn't give a damn otherwise. Komuro Takaya would really go to heaven. Xiaomuro hung on the beaten left face and stared at Xia Lin angrily, his eyes spitting fire, and he almost clenched his teeth. But he didn't have the courage to resist. Miyamoto Rei looked at this scene, and the angry expression was indescribably smooth. And she almost said the word deserved in the plot. Komuro Takaya is regarded as a reliance by Miyamoto Rei. And at this moment under the influence of Xia Lin, Komuro Takaya is regarded as an enemy. After slapping Muro Takaya, Xia Lin didn't do any more, but walked to the entrance of the rooftop. Here, Komuro Takahashi, Miyamoto Rei, and Jing Haeyang were blocked with desks, and the door was tied with ropes to prevent zombies from rushing up at the stairs. After doing all this, Xia Lin was relieved. He intends to go down from here and prepare to kill. What are you going to do? Do you want to kill us? After seeing Xia Lin's actions, Komuro Takahashi scolded in horror, apparently not remembering after being beat. Killed you all thinking it's safe to stay here? Or are you going to spend your whole life on this rooftop? Then starve to death and be dried into mummified corpses? Xia Lin sneered. Komuro Taka was so choked that he couldn't speak, so he could only cover his face reluctantly. Although Xia Lin didn't kill him, the slap was so severe that it was difficult for an ordinary person like Komuro Takahashi to recover at once. Komuro Takahashi felt as if his left cheek was swollen. Damn guy, Komuro Takahashi lowered his head, and the flame of hatred flashed in his eyes. Then what do you want to do, just rush down like this? There are all kinds of things on the steps, and it is impossible to rush down with our strength. Komuro Takaya thought for a while, then retorted, "Do you think I'm a waste like you?" Xia Lin said dismissively, "BFBA." Carrying the Kong Yan knives, Xia Lin looked at the blocked rooftop door, and then kicked it. Boom, a loud bangs. The seemingly unbreakable rooftop door was directly kicked out under Xia Lin's kick. The desks and chairs piled in front of the door, as well as the entire door, all flew towards the bottom of the stairs. Behind the roof gate there are zombies or dead bodies. These zombies were also hit by the door that flew out of Xia Lin and rolled directly down the steps. Main Quest 1, Dead Body Hunter, Completion Degree 11-100. Main Quest 4, The Savior in the Eyes of Everyone, with a completion degree of 250. After Xia Lin held the Fascianti Gate, the progress of the mission jumped. Main Quest, is there no way to do 2 and 3 at the same time? Unfortunately, the system loopholes cannot be drilled. Xia Lin gave Rei Miyamoto and Takashi Komuro a meaningful look, but did not expect these two guys to become part of the mission. Monster! Komuro watched in horror at the scene where Xia Lin held the door to the sky, swallowing saliva in his throat, and couldn't help but murmur the word monster. Apart from the word monster, he couldn't think of anything to describe Xia Lin. The rooftop door was reinforced with his hands, and he knew more about how much strength it would take to break open the rooftop door simply by manpower. Normal people can't do it at all, however. Xia Lin not only did it, it could even be said that it was a breeze, leaving more energy behind. Moreover, that door was not only opened but kicked away. The powerful impact also knocked the zombies up the stairs flying. Then I will kill directly, and I should be able to clear the way of the stairs. As for you, whether to stay here to mourn the deceased, or to come down from the rooftop, it's up to you. Xia Lin glanced at Miyamoto Rei, then turned around and walked downstairs. The loud noise just now attracted the attention of many zombies. These are all mission points. Xia Lin naturally kills very diligently. Wait for me. Seeing Xia Lin walking down the rooftop, Miyamoto Rei hesitated for a moment, then quickly followed. "Lee, don't go." Komuro Takaya grabbed Miyamoto Rei's hand, trying to stop her. "That guy is a monster of unknown origin. It's too dangerous, and we're not the same as us at all. That's better than you, a murderer one," Miyamoto Rei said angrily. Komuro Takaya was shot in the chest again, and the pain was endless. After saying this, Miyamoto Rei glared at Komuro Taka bitterly, took his hand away and rushed down anxiously. Komuro Taka gritted his teeth and followed. "Ask for flowers, ask for subscription, ask for collection." Lawless. A low roar like a beast came from the mouth of the zombies. After Xia Lin stepped down from the rooftop, the zombies blocking the stairs seemed to have seen fat and rushed towards Xia Lin. Puff. The next moment, a sound like a cracked silk continued to sound on the stairs. In Xia Lin's hands, The red light of the knife was waving like a laser, and one zombie after another was easily decapitated by him with the flame knife and fell to his feet. Waves of zombies are like waves, and there is no way to stop Xia Lin's footsteps. Xia Lin seems to be walking in a leisurely garden, walking among the zombies just like harvesting wheat, easily harvesting the heads of the zombies, too strong. Miyamoto Ria, who rushed down behind Xia Lin, widened her eyes when she saw this scene. You must know that when the three of them came to the rooftop, they worked hard to deal with a zombie. And Jing Haeyang was bitten by a zombie, however. The young man in front of him actually killed these terrifying zombies like chopping melons and vegetables. It's unbelievable, is this still human? Miyamoto Rei couldn't help but ask a question in her heart. Without a doubt, this is a human. Still a young man about her age. But can humans really be so powerful? In the face of being surrounded by so many zombies, there is no pressure if entering a land of no one. Wait for me. Miyamoto Rei took small steps and ran to Xia Lin's side quickly. Xia Lin casually kicked the rushing zombie, causing its head to fall heavily on the ground, and then swung the knife to decapitate a rushing zombie from below. Xia Lin glanced at Miyamoto Rei. She was holding a wooden stick in her hand, which looked like a mop stick, with a thorny iron holster at the tip. I don't want to be on it, I want to live. Being watched by Xia Lin's eyes, Miyamoto Rei squeezed the wooden stick tightly, took a deep breath and said nervously, sound judgment. Xia Lin glanced at her admiringly, then withdrew her gaze to the task panel. A lot of zombies at the entrance of the stairs were cleaned up by Xia Lin, and now there are only 7 or 8 of them. They are still at the bottom of the stairs, and they are clumsily crawling up towards it with a roar. Main Quest 1, Dead Body Hunter, completion degree 65-100. It seems that if you kill another way, you will be able to complete the first mission, Xia Lin. Xia Lin said the name, what? Miyamoto Rei looked at Xia Lin suspiciously. My name's Xia Lin repeated it. My name is Miyamoto Rei. Miyamoto Rei also reported her name, okay. Xia Lin nodded, then looked away from Miyamoto Rei. What shall we do next? Miyamoto Rei asked. She has no clear purpose at all now, the only purpose is to live. But in this apocalypse she wants to live. She doesn't know what to do next. You can only choose to follow behind Xia Lin and ask Xia Lin how to do it. Go down first and see if there are any other survivors. Xia Lin pondered for a second and said so. The fourth main task is to save people. At least 50 people need to be saved. You should be able to find them after a search and rescue in Fujimai Garden. Okay, it should be okay. Xia Lin was also a little murmured in her heart, after all. Judging from the current situation, it is already lucky that 4 or 5 people in a class can survive. Xia Lin said, walking down the steps. And the 7 or 8 zombies that remained roared and rushed up, and were quickly killed by Xia Lin. Miyamoto Rei hurriedly followed behind him. There is a corridor below, there is no stairs here. It is so safe, you follow me and I will open the way in front. Pay attention to the situation next to you. There may be zombies rushing out. The stairs here are safer for ordinary people, occupying the commanding heights. And there is a sense of being alone. But coming down from the roof upon the corridor side, it is officially entering the teaching area. There are classrooms one by one in the classrooms. Instead of students and sensei are now zombies. Xia Lin glanced down. The stick in your hand is not very lethal. You don't need to waste your energy to kill them. Just stop them and don't get close to them. I'll deal with them. Seeking flowers 0 clear. Miyamoto Rei nodded. The panic and confusion in her expression gradually faded away. Xia Lin's calm attitude in the face of danger is definitely a powerful sedative in this doomsday crisis. Especially when Miyamoto Rei was overwhelmed. She arranged the next task within her power, allowing Miyamoto Rei to find a trace of herself, Korea. Behind the two of them, Kimuro Takao followed. Don't follow me. Miyamoto Rei looked at Kimuro Takao in disgust, then stood beside Xia Lin and got closer to Xia Lin. Xia Lin glanced at Xiao Shixiao lightly, making the other party avoid his eyes in fear. Xiao Shixiao also saw the situation of Xia Lin cutting melons and vegetables to kill zombies, which obviously deepened the terrible image of Xia Lin in the other party's heart. Point 0. Watch your surroundings. Xia Lin didn't take care of Xiao Shixiao anymore and walked forward. Let him gather a number of people for the task first after all. He is the protagonist. His ability to survive should be very strong. And it should be trivial to live for 3 days. Miyamoto Rei didn't look at Kimuro Takaya anymore, and followed Xia Lin's side, paying attention to the situation beside her, to prevent zombies from suddenly rushing out of the classroom. The two have a tacit understanding. Looking at the two of them, Xiao Shixiao's heart twitched. Wing's good brother in the corner just passed away. Here's another one, however. The terrifying environment around him made him bite the bullet and keep up with the two. Pain, fear, hoarseness, the scene as if hell is coming, is enough to make a normal person insane. At this time, Cheng Neng is obviously stupid. Only by following the strong can we survive. Xia Lin didn't care about Kimuro Taka's idea after all. It was just a mission point, walking in the corridor. Xia Lin swung the knife to close the knife, and then swung the knife again. And all the zombies who dared to stand in front of him in the corridor were easily eliminated. It seems that there are no living people on this floor. Killing from one end of the corridor to the other end of the corridor. All of them were zombisans, seeing no one alive. Disappointed Xia Lin and sighed 10. Xia Lin, you are too good, following behind Xia Lin. Miyamoto Rei looked at Xia Lin's heroic appearance and the corpse behind them, and couldn't help saying, it seems that you are not afraid of these things at all. 33. It's just a small scene, 99. Xia Lin responded calmly. Compared with the fallen angel and the lost devil who were faced with the devil's high school, these slow-moving zombies are really no threat at all. The current Xia Lin is like a full-level large beginner village. If it weren't for the task, it wouldn't be so laborious. Small scenes, Miyamoto Rei muttered. Is this still a small scene, so what is the big scene? This is the end of the world, and what scene can compare to now? At least in Miyamoto Rei's worldview. There has never been a scene as serious as this one. Therefore Miyamoto Rei took Xia Lin's words as a joke, and more as a kind of comfort, so that 507 she could feel at ease. That floor just now was the 3rd grade classroom, right? Xia Lin asked. He just cleaned up the zombies on the 1st floor and completed the main task. Now the main mission 2, Dead Body Killer, has also made some progress. It's just a pity that the main mission 4, the savior in the eyes of everyone, except for Miyamoto Rei and Kimuro Takaya, who started at the beginning, did not encounter any living people. This made Xia Lin, who had confidence in searching and rescuing 50 people in the school, doubted it at the moment. Can you really find 50 living people in Fujimai Garden? Miyamoto Rei nodded and added, the next floor is also a classroom for the 3rd grade. Seiko Taojima is a 3rd-year student, right? I didn't see her, and it seems that she should have escaped the trap. But with her strength, as long as you are careful, these zombies really can't trap her. Xia Lin pondered for a while and said, I just found a reason to come to Fujimai Garden. Xia Lin likes to make things a little more perfect and avoid some boring troubles. He suddenly appeared in Fujimai Garden through system teleportation. For this school, he was a strange outsider. Find a suitable reason and let yourself have a legitimate reason to appear in Fujimai Garden. Besides, he really changed this senior, Seiko Taojima. You are talking about Seiko Senpa, who won the championship in the national kendo competition last year. Holding the mop stick, Miyamoto Rei couldn't help but feel a little nervous, and asked, do you know Sister Pashima Seiko? Of course, after all, I came to Fujimi Garden to find her. Xia Lin chuckled and said, but it may be a bit wrong to say that I know each other. I just know Seiko Tashishiman, she doesn't know me. 29. You came to Fujimai Garden to find her. Miyamoto Rei was curious with a hint of nervousness. Are you a fan of Yujima Seiko Senpai? Seiko Pashima is a signboard at Fujimi Garden. People are beautiful, gentle, excellent swordsmanship. She is very popular in Fujimi Garden, and many people admire hers. Miyamoto Rei would naturally think in this direction. Why do you ask? Xia Lin asked strangely. Because. Miyamoto Rei was puzzled and she was not stupid. Looking at Xia Lin's appearance, she didn't seem to be an admirer of Siko Pashima. Apart from getting to know her, I just came to see her for lessons. Xia Lin gently waved the Kong Yandao in his hand, smiled lightly, and said with a little pity, but by the time I arrive at Fujimi Garden, I have already had class, so I can only go to the rooftop and wait for the get out of class to end at noon. Go to her again. I didn't expect this kind of thing to happen. It seems that this trip is in vain. I have seen the game of Yujima Siko-senpai. She should not be your opponent. Miyamoto Rei said impatiently, let's not talk about it. Let's go to the next floor and take a look. Xia Lin interrupted Miyamoto Rei as she walked. What? Suddenly a scream came. Hearing this voice, Xia Lin was a little overjoyed. He really thought that the characters in the entire Fujimi Garden would not be alive, except for the school team that left the school in the plot. Xia Lin followed the voice and looked over. On the elevated corridor connecting the two teaching buildings, a group of 6 Pipletwo men and 4 women were surrounded by zombies on both sides. Come over. Xia Lin walked along the corridor to the railing. Hearing this, Miyamoto Rei obediently walked to Xia Lin's side, looked at the surrounded 6 people and said, there are survivors 99. Miyamoto Rei was convinced that if the group of 6 were by their side, Xia Lin would definitely be able to save them. However, this is the case now. She and Xia Lin were on the 6th floor, and the 6 of them were on the 3rd floor. The height of the floor alone did not allow them to be rescued, and the horizontal distance was almost 10 meters apart. Pity. Miyamoto Rei was fortunate in her heart and felt sorry for the group of 6. Compared to the group of 6, he was simply too lucky to meet a strong man like Xia Lin. With Xia Lin's side, the sense of security is really enough. Hey. Miyamoto Rei was still feeling pity for the group of 6, when she suddenly felt a strange sensation around her waist and exclaimed. She found that she and Xia Lin had made zero distance contact, and Xia Lin's left hand was wrapping around her waist. Going to jump. Before she could fully feel the feeling of being hugged by Xia Lin, Miyamoto Rei hurriedly tightened her body. As if she was being strangled, she was about to say, it's too tight when Xia Lin's 3 words came from her ear. Words the next moment. Miyamoto Rei understood what Xia Lin meant by 3 words to jump. It really jumped off the building. Xia Lin landed on her waist, jumped directly, and jumped off the 6th floor. The sudden feeling of weightlessness made Miyamoto Rei dizzy, and the whistling wind in her ears entered her mouth. She was so frightened that she couldn't even scream. Her face suddenly turned pale, and she stared at the falling man landscape. Click. The sense of weightlessness disappeared immediately. Arrived, Xia Lin let go of Miyamoto Rei very simply. The other party seemed to be quite frightened. His feet were a little soft, and he almost collapsed on the ground. However, Miyamoto Rei used to be a member of the Spearmanship Club after all, and exercised regularly. Although she was frightened by the jump just now, she quickly recovered. Although her face was still a little pale, Kamuro Takaya on the 6th floor felt that he was about to ascend to heaven. Originally, he planned to escape behind the 2 of them. However, Xia Lin's operation is simply too indescribable. This is the 6th floor, so I just jumped down. Even on the 3rd floor. But there are also 3 stories in height at this height. If you fall, even if you don't fall to death, you will be seriously injured. 1. However, Kamuro Taka's eyes were about to pop out. Not only did Xia Lin not get hurt, but she didn't have any trouble, and landed on the elevated corridor unharmed. Monster 97. Takashi Kamuro looked at the close contact between Xia Lin and Miyamoto Rei, and felt that the greenery on his head was a little richer, and couldn't help but mutter to himself. Suddenly, Kamuro Takahashi discovered a very serious problem. He followed behind the 2 of them and walked over safely all the way. However, now it seems that the two have abandoned him. He became alone. Kamuro Takahashi glanced at the elevated corridor below and realized that he didn't have the guts to jump down. Even if he jumped, would be disabled if he didn't die. What's amazing, I can kill zombies myself. Zio Muro gritted his teeth and said unwillingly. He squeezed the baseball bat in his hand tightly, and then carefully walked down the stairs. Trying to avoid the zombies downstairs, fine. After the down-to-earth feeling came back again, Miyamoto Rei was relieved. Although her face was still a little pale, she was much better. The thrilling experience of jumping from the 6th floor really made her a little unacceptable as an ordinary person. Fortunately, she exercises regularly, and her physical fitness is also very good. So there is no abnormal situation. But there's no time for you to recover. Xia Lin let go of Miyamoto Rei and said indifferently. After saying a word to Miyamoto Rei, Xia Lin looked at the 6 people who were still in a panic. They were obviously very surprised by the way Xia Lin appeared. But after seeing Xia Lin holding a weapon, they were relieved. Be careful, there are too many of these things. A boy in the ledge reminded. You guys take care of yourself, don't get hurt by zombies. 99 Xia Lin stabbed lightly, then walked forward and rushed directly into the zombie group. And many more. The boy in the lead hurriedly wanted to stop it. Several of them have personally experienced the horror of 15 zombies and know the horror of these monsters. Along the way, they saw too many students being bitten by monsters as food. Even 4 or 5 are enough to kill one person, however. There are now 40 or 50. And one bite is enough to kill one person. If they were surrounded, they would be torn to pieces by those crazy zombies. And even the corpses would not be found intact. He originally thought that if there was one more boy, he might be able to use his power to open a way to survive before the zombies blocked their way. It's a pity that the other party didn't wait for the 2 boys at all, and recklessly submerged into the zombie group. We can't escape, one of the girls looked desperate. The zombies on both sides are approaching, and there are dozens of them on each side. Once surrounded, it is enough to eat them all. What are the consequences of being bitten by a zombie? They are very clear. Originally thought it would be the hero who would save them from the sky. But I didn't expect the other party to be so impulsive. It's a pity, think about it too. Who can take them out from so many zombies? I don't want to die of woohoo. The other girl covered her mouth and cried in despair. Shut up if you don't want to just follow him. He will take us to live 93. Seeing that the 2 girls were crying, Miyamoto Rei scolded impatiently, following Xia Lin all the way, witnessing his strength. At this moment someone is questioning Xia Lin, which makes Miyamoto a little unhappy in his heart. Look, he is stronger than you think. Miyamoto Rei looked at the 6 people who were somewhat unclear and said, We go to help Heimven, if I die I have to pull a few backs. And I can't stand here waiting to die. The boy in the lead gritted his teeth and looked at the boy next to him with a resolute look. A boy next to him grabbed him, pointed to the front and said dumbfounded. The boy at the head looked at it again, and also looked stunned. He originally thought that Xia Lin would be in trouble. But the result was completely the opposite of what he imagined. Xia Lin wandered among the zombies wielding a knife, like a cloud of flowing water without any hindrance. All the zombies that stood in front of him were beheaded with one knife. There's no need to worry about whether he was torn to shreds by zombies. It was exactly a lion rushing into the flock. Looking at Xia Lin's appearance, the leading boy thought of a 3 Kingdoms game that he had played in the past. And there was a mode in it, 1 by 1. This F***G is a humanoid lawn mower with peerless mode. Well, saved. One of the girls still couldn't believe the scene in front of her and asked uncertainly, We don't have to die. The other 3 girls also looked at each other in dismay and saw the happy look of rebirth in the eyes of each other. Follow him, the ones behind are coming. The roar from behind slowly approached, and the boy in the lead was the first to react and made a decision immediately. Although watching Xia Lin mowing the grass and reaping the zombies has a feeling of enjoyment, But now on the way to escape as long as the reaction is slow. He may be reduced to the ration of the zombies, originally. There were 8 people in their groups. But because the 2 of them reacted a little slower, they completely left the team. Seeing the 6 people showing this appearance, as the person who fell from the sky with Xia Lin, Miyamoto Rei has a kind of pride and pride. She took the lead and followed Xia Lin, the rest of the people. After looking at each other also scrambled to follow, lest they be left behind, with Xia Lin leading the way. The journey was naturally smooth, and soon the group left from the elevated corridor, came to a slightly quieter corner, a temporary safe spot. Xia Lin glanced at the task panel. Main Quest 2, Dead Body Killer Completion Degree 151 1000. Main Quest 4, The Savior in the Eyes of Everyone, with a completion degree of 850. Shouting, leaving Xiao Shixiao on the 6th floor. However, the protagonist should not die right. Xia Lin thought silently in her heart. Anyone among you injured by a zombie? Xia Lin glanced at the 6 people she had just saved. I don't, the 4 girls shook their heads. How about you too? Xia Lin looked at the 2 boys. I do not have either, one of the boys replied. I was accidentally caught by a zombie before. The boy in the lead showed a painful look and spit out a mouthful of black blood. 507 Obviously the zombie virus has struck, Xia Lin. Miyamoto Rei stepped back, nervously approached Xia Lin. Watched the boy at the head with vigilance, and was always ready to give this boy a shot with the wooden stick in her hand. She has experienced the zombie transformation of her boyfriend, so she is naturally vigilant at such times. Where is the injury? Xia Lin walked over, left hand 99. The leading boy raised his left hand. The sleeve of his left hand was scratched, and there was a trace of fingernails on his arm. But it was not blood red but a dull black. Give me. Xia Lin pulled his right hand directly, and then covered his wound with his hand. Primary therapy, primary purification. Xia Lin used 2 skills. The leading boy was tortured by the zombie virus at first, as if his whole body was about to collapse. But the next moment, a warm feeling filled his body. He looked at Xia Lin in disbelief. You don't have to guess, it's Xia Lin's credit. With the use of the 2 skills, the leading boy began to gradually improve. Apart from the black blood he coughed up just now, he no longer coughed up blood, and his dark complexion became pale, that's all. Xia Lin withdrew his hand after all. It was only a primary skill, and Xia Lin couldn't judge whether the zombie virus in the boy's body was completely eliminated. Xia Lin let go of her hand and said indifferently, in fact, Xia Lin can also try to kill the virus with the Devil's Eye of Death. But the process of the Devil's Eye of Death is much more troublesome than the purification technique. It's time to trouble you. The man in the lead was shocked at first, and then smiled indifferently, looking very open-minded. What's your name, originally? Xia Lin just planned to use him to test his 2 clergy skills. But the boy's attitude made Xia Lin take a high look. Ida Yuichi, the boy reported his name, Xia Lin. Xia Lin nodded and also said his name. Okay, let's do it first. Xia Lin didn't say much either. Yes, Lord Xia Lin, Ida Yuichi said respectfully. Grown-ups, Xia Lin laughed, not expecting that the other party would suddenly use this title. Have you practiced kendo or something along the way? Xia Lin occasionally glanced at Yui Ida and saw that he had a certain foundation. He should have learned something like kendo or karate. My grandfather was a samurai and raised me as a samurai. Yuichi Ida replied in Japan. The concept of superiors and superiors is deeply rooted in the hearts of the people, even in a slightly simpler school. And this concept is actually a kind of Mukian concept. The strong get everything, the weak look up to the strong. The force shown by Xia Lin, as well as the mysterious healing ability, has completely convinced Yuichi Ida. Coupled with the reasons for his family education, he naturally chose a rather retro title. Surrender one by one, this is Yuichi Ida's choice. Xia Lin nodded slightly. No wonder he was able to escape with a team force. Decisiveness, awareness of current affairs all possessed. Such people are indeed capable. Xia Lin, have you really cured him? Miyamoto Rei looked at Yuichi Ida, who had recovered, and approached Xia Lin, hesitated for a while, and asked in a low voice, I don't know after all. This is the first time I have encountered this kind of thing, and I don't know if it can be cured. I can only say that it was temporarily suppressed. As for whether it will recur in the future, I can't be 100% sure, Xia Lin answered truthfully. To be honest, although Yuichi Ida has recovered, Xia Lin has no way to judge whether the virus in Yuichi Ida has really been purified. After all, the virus is not the same as a wound. It lurks in the body and cannot be seen, is that right? Miyamoto Rei lowered her head and muttered to herself. The expression in her eyes also changed. In Miyamoto Rei's view, it's just Xia Lin's self-effacing. Because she saw Yuichi Ida coughing up black blood, and even her face darkened, and her symptoms were exactly the same as those of Jing Haoyang. However, Xia Lin just pressed Ida Yuichi's hand and even cured his symptoms. What? There must be something happening that she doesn't know about. However, now is not the time to pursue such a thing. Kamuro Takaya. Thinking of this childhood sweetheart and her ex-boyfriend, Miyamoto Rei couldn't help clenching her fists. Since Ida Yuichi can be rescued if Jing Hao never died, he should have been rescued at the beginning, however. It was because of Xiao's jealousy that despite Xia Lin's stop, Jing Haoyang was beaten to death and Jing Haoyang lost the chance to be treated. Thinking of this, Miyamoto Rei's disgust for Kamuro Takaya was a little more, and even brought a trace of hatred. Have you met any other survivors besides you? Xia Lin ignored the changes in Miyamoto Rei's heart and asked Yuichi Ida. I saw a group of people go to the staff's office before, and I don't know if they are still alive now. Yuichi Ida replied, the staff office. Xia Lin pondered for a while. It seems that in the plot, the main character's group is also targeting the faculty office. Come on, take me there, Xia Lin ordered. The office of the faculty and staff is not in this building. And if you want to go there, you need to walk through 2 buildings, Ida Yuichi replied, and then pointed to a teaching building not far away. These teaching buildings are connected by elevated corridors. So if you want to walk there, you need to face a lot of zombies. Are you going to kill again? Xia Lin looked at the place where she just walked. Let's go and have a look, Xia Lin set off for departure. To be honest, now he is not very hopeful about rescuing 50 people in the school. He can only save one or the other. Remember, follow me. I will not turn around to save you if you want to survive. Do your best and don't fall behind in the 4th main task. Although Xia Lin was asked to save people, Xia Lin did not want to compromise because of the mission. Only those who were worth saving would be saved. If you can't even follow him for such trivial things, let him live or die, understood Lord Xia Lin's 33. Ida Yuichi responded immediately. Xia Lin nodded. And the next moment her figure became violent. The 7 behind him followed. Move forward, swing the knife. It is not difficult for Xia Lin to simply repeat this action. Xia Lin really did not look back all the way, even if there were girls in the 6 who made a sound of fear. And these people are worth saving. They did not fall behind because of this, but killed a few zombies that suddenly appeared on the road. On the way, Xia Lin met 5 more survivors and pulled them into the team. Xia Lin in front of the faculty office. At the corner of the corridors, Miyamoto Rei pointed to a large classroom ahead. About 5 minutes later, Xia Lin brought a team of 12 people to the office of the faculty and staff, and they could reach it after a short walk. Xia Lin looked over. The door of the office was tightly closed, and there were several zombies sticking to the door, slamming clumsily with their bodies. And there is only one reason why the zombies, who are dangling aimlessly like ghosts, suddenly make such actions. It looks like there should be a living person inside. Xia Lin is in a good mood, and in this way, he can gather a few more tasks. It's not that he doesn't want to go to the crowded places in the city, but if he gets to the city, it will become more chaotic, and those people will be more difficult to control. It might be better to complete task 2 while completing task 4 in school. Huskamuro Taka. A familiar figure, Li Zhao, appeared in Xia Lin's line of sight, which was the original male protagonist Xiao Muro. It is not surprising to see him Xia Lin after all. He is a male lead. If he is not lucky, will die like this. And he is too sorry for his identity as a male lead. Kamuro Takahisa cautiously came down from the stairs. Ready to go downstairs, he found a safer way. There were only 1 or 2 zombies on the stairs, and he was quickly beaten to death with a baseball bat. Kamuro Takaya seemed to have also noticed Xia Lin and his group. When he saw Miyamoto Ryuhei's face was happy, but when he saw Xia Lin it became very gloomy. "Let's go, that broken door shouldn't hold up anymore." Xia Lin said a word and rushed over first. The zombies slammed into the office door with greater force, and the door slammed loudly. Although the sound of the impact was not particularly loud, the sound still attracted a lot of zombies. The fragile door was already squeezed into the hollow by the zombies, and it was estimated that it would soon be knocked open. Ask for flowers, ask for evaluation, ask for subscription. Boom! The fragile office door finally let out an overwhelmed whine, and it was completely knocked open under the impact of zombies. Lack of obstacles to advance. The zombies blocking the door of the office suddenly rushed in with a crazy roar. Some zombies were even squeezed to the ground, however. In this case, even a normal person may have a stampede incident, let alone a zombie with only animal nature and no reason. The zombie that was squeezed to the ground was immediately trampled by the zombies later. And even if it struggled, it was quickly trampled to death. Puff puff, there was a roar of air in the office, accompanied by a dull sound that pierced into the body. And zombies fell one after another. "Student Gaya Chang, bring me the bullets over there." Inside there was an anxious voice. He is stocky and wears glasses, wearing a black school uniform at first glance. The first impression you get is the typical otaku image circulating on the internet. This is where another male lead, Hirano Toda, appeared in the plot. A military mansion with a rich and handsome family background. 510, he was holding a pieced air gun in his hand, and was shooting the zombies that entered the office with great precision. What a mere plane dare to give orders to me. Behind Hirano Toda is a pink-haired double ponytail with a plump figure and a cute appearance, but with a savage aura, Gaya Chengseiya, one of the heroines. After being told by Hirano Toda, Takagi Seiya gave him a dissatisfied look. "I'm running out of bullets, I really can't get away, please." Hearing this, Hiranoto took a deep breath, changed his anxious tone, showed a pleasing smile, and then quickly turned his head and continued to shoot the zombies pouring in from the door. Zombies poured in one after another, fortunately. The door of the office is so big that only 3 or 4 zombies can enter the office at one time. This amount at the beginning was still within the scope of Hirano Toda, however. With the influx of zombies, Hirano Toda soon felt powerless, and his reaction speed couldn't keep up with these irrational beasts, especially BFBA, the improvised air gun in his hand. The nail bullets in it are almost exhausted in this case. He can't free his hand to take bullets, and even changing bullets needs to be faster than before. Because as long as he shoots slowly, he may be knocked down by the zombies pouring in at the door and torn to shreds. Student Gaya Cheng, don't look at it. Take up arms and fight together. Taking the simple magazine from Seiya Takagi and replacing it with the fastest speed. Toda Hirano said, sweating profusely. "I said don't order me." Takajo Seiya stood beside Hirano Toda, without any intention to do anything, scolded with a kimbo. "Why should I fight? I'm from the brain power faction. Get rid of them quickly, glasses otaku." "I think so too, but Gaya Cheng, classmate, it's too late." Hirano Toda said helplessly while shooting, and kept focusing on shooting zombies, which made him feel powerless. 2 zombies have already slipped through the net, and at some point, they quietly rushed to the front of the 2 of them. What? One of the zombies had already rushed in front of Gaya Chengseiya, with his mouth open, dripping blood and roaring towards her. Takajo Seiya let out a desperate scream. His body trembled, and he kept retreating. Hirano Toda wanted to help, but unfortunately couldn't get away at all, because he was also entangled by a zombie. The offensive just now was directly disrupted, and the zombies outside the door rushed in frantically. Seeing this scene, Hirano Toda was also desperate, and even had the idea of giving up resistance. Because at this time, it was only a matter of time before being bitten to death by a zombie. As long as the air gun in his hand ran out of bullets, he would definitely be killed by these. The zombies swarmed up and fell to the ground, becoming their food. Well done. At this time, a figure rushed in from outside the door, and when passing by Hirano Toda, he left this sentence with a little appreciation figure. Do not, more precisely, it is an afterimage. Hirano Toda wondered if he had been too many recently, and his myopia had deepened. So this hallucination appeared. New glasses that were replaced not long ago. How could human beings have afterimages? Must be wrong. However, Hirano Toda breathed a sigh of relief, because the crisis is over. After this figure rushed into the office, he killed the zombies like the autumn wind swept the leaves, and all the zombies that poured into the office fell down. Hirano Toda looked out the door, and he saw the zombies piled up outside the door. All fell to the ground. How can that be? Killed too fast. It was obvious that these zombies were still rushing into the office in groups. Thank you, 99s. Although he didn't know why the other party praised himself when he passed by. Toda Hirano thanked him dumbly. Come, don't come. Gaya Changsea has been cornered by the zombies. His eyes widened, shouted in panic, and he waved his hands indiscriminately, one by one. Xia Lin walked over directly and chopped off the head of the zombie. Blood spurted out, splashing Gaya Chengsea's face. The head rolled down, and the headless zombie fell directly in front of Gaya Chengsea with a bang. Gaya Chengsea stared blankly at this scene, and seemed to be frightened by the zombies just now. He fell to the ground with his mouth open, motionless. Behind Xia Lin, another group of people rushed in quickly. Gaya Cheng, headed by Miyamoto Rei. After seeing Takajo Seiya, she called out with a slightly surprised look. Seeing her friend safe and sound made her very happy. Miyamoto, hearing this familiar voice. Seiya Gaya Cheng slowly came back to her senses. Her dilated pupils gradually became brighter. She raised her head and stared blankly at Miyamoto Rei. It's really good that you're fine. Miyamoto Rei walked over happily. Are you all right? I just heard screams upstairs. 99. At this time, the door on the other side of the office was opened, and two figures walked in. Hearing the sound, Xia Lin looked over. Are you all right? I heard screams upstairs just now. Two figures came in from another door of the office, and one of them asked with concern. Xia Lin looked over. The headed one is a tall and plump female student, wearing a white and green school uniform on the upper body and a green over-the-knee lotus skirt on the lower body. His long purple hair fell like a waterfall down to his waist, especially his pretty face, which was charming and heroic. And behind Harris, a more plump woman, draped in a white doctor tree. The skin is delicate and white, as if it were milk. The long golden hair fell down softly, like golden silk. Especially the pretty face, which is obviously full of seductiveness. But in the bright eyes there is a kind of purity and clarity that belongs to a child. These advantages are gathered in a woman, which is simply the combination of angel and devil, enough to make any man unable to hold one. Xia Lin recognized the identities of the two immediately. Senior sister Siko Pashima and school doctor Marukawa Shizuka. These two people can be said to be responsible for the appearance in the apocalypse of the academy. Oh, it looks like everyone is fine. That's great. Juchuan Shizuka touched her lips with a finger, with confusion in her pretty face. She looked at everyone in the office, and then showed a happy smile, like Gaya Cheng at this time. From the door where Xia Lin and the others came, a person also rushed over. It is the protagonist Kamuro Takaya. After seeing Xia Lin's group, Kamuro Takaya not only had no plans to avoid him, but instead came directly with him at this moment. Kamuro Takaya saw his two childhood sweethearts. His face suddenly showed joy and happiness, and greeted the two of them, trying to attract people's attention. However, it backfired. Miyamoto Rei gave Kamuro Takashi a cold look. That kind of gaze made Kamuro Takaya feel a chill behind his back, reminding him of the time when Miyamoto Rei was the one who killed the zombie Huijing Haeyang with a stick on the rooftop. Look at him with that look, and Gaya Chengseiya, who hasn't reacted from the dangerous experience just now, is still sitting on the ground. His eyes are a little dull. Kamuro Takaho had no interest in discussing it, had no intention of leaving, but walked into the office and stood aside. You made these. Siko Dashima took Shizuka Marukawa, and the two walked in through another door. Siko Dashima looked at the corpses all over the place, and finally looked at Xia Lin, who was holding a knife in his hand, and asked in surprise. As for why you first asked Xia Lin, it's actually quite simple. Some of the corpses in the classroom were intact, while more were dissociated. Only Xia Lin with a knife in his hand can do this, okay? Xia Lin nodded, well done. Siko Pashima smiled like a big sister. The corners of Xia Lin's mouth twitched twice. The words he gave to Hirano Toda just now were unexpectedly returned to him by Siko Pashima. I'm Siko Pashima from Class A of the 3rd year. Siko Pashima stretched out his hand and said with a smile. Xia Linot, a student of Fuji Mei Garden. Came here specifically to find you. Xia Lin stretched out his hand and shook Siko Pashima, and said the excuse he made temporarily, find me. Kazushima Siko was a little surprised. She didn't know Xia Lin. She didn't even have the slightest impression. Xia Lin is here to compete with you. Miyamoto Rei showed a relaxed smile and answered from the side. Kazushima Siko looked at Xia Lin suspiciously, and Xia Lin nodded, acquiescing to what Miyamoto Rei said. Competition? Kazushima Siko asked. The champion of the national competition. Your level of kendo is very high-end. I also practice kendo. I happen to be in Japan during this time, so I took advantage of my free time to come and see if I can compete with you. Maybe I can do it in the competition. There will be gains. Xia Lin gently waved the Kong Yandao in his hand and said with a smile. Hearing this, Siko Pashima gave a wry smile. Your swordsmanship should also be very high. If it were normals, I would definitely agree to your invitation. Unfortunately, it seems that you came at a wrong time. Poison Island. Siko's gaze skipped Xia Lin's clump of flames, which was not the silver of steel, but a red like autumn leaves. It doesn't look like an ordinary weapon. To be able to decapitate so many zombies, there must be some credit to the weapons, however. Being able to kill so many zombies. The breath is still stable as usual. Even she can't be so easy. This completely shows that Xia Lin is not ordinary. Such a person is enough to arouse Siko's fighting spirit. It is really unfortunate to encounter such a thing. 99. Xia Lin shrugged and said lightly. Seeing Xia Lin's light-hearted appearance, Siko Dashima couldn't help but smile easily at this time. It's too easy for her personal emotions to drive her. You close the door and move these tables out of the way. Xia Lin nodded to Siko Pashima, then turned her head and instructed the 11 people behind her. Clear. Ida Yuichi responded immediately, then moved the zombies away from the door and closed the door gently. The rest of the people worked together to move the table and cabinet to the door, blocking it and strengthening the defense. In less than a minute, the office was set up and sealed. Gao Chengseiya still did not recover, slumped on the ground, staring blankly at the corpse. 0. Miyamoto Rei and Jachu and Shizuka were a little worried, and went to her side to comfort them. But the effect was not great, and they were not ignored by the other party. Rest for a while. After seeing everyone move the table, Xia Lin said so. Since the outbreak of zombies, a group of people have not had much rest, especially in the face of such a disaster. The fear in their hearts has never been stronger. In this cassette is necessary to avoid the pursuit of zombies, and physical strength has been greatly consumed, physically and mentally exhausted. When Xia Lin's voice fell, didn't think about it, didn't care about the zombies in the ground, found a place where he could sit and sat down. Siko Dashima glanced at these people from a different place. She was not blind. So she naturally saw that these people seemed to be headed by Xia Lin. Being able to get the recognition of so many people in such a short period of time. Xia Lin is really not an ordinary person. Xia Lin also found a chair and sat down. 0. He glanced at the office, which was very large. About the size of 2 or 3 ordinary classrooms. Full of sunshine, with floor-to-ceiling windows and wide balconies. It's a comfortable place to work. There is also a staircase under the balcony, allowing people downstairs to go upstairs directly into the office along this staircase. I don't know if it was designed by that genius, simply killed in the campus where zombies are rampant. It was only necessary to block 2 doors. Now another way is provided for the zombies, however. Fortunately, the zombies have no thinking and did not climb up this road. Seiko Pashima also seemed to have noticed this, and walked over to draw the curtains, although he didn't know if it had any effect. Okay, let's all introduce ourselves. After closing the curtains, Seiko Ashima turned around with a gentle smile and asked easily, which also made everyone feel relieved, I'm Seiko Pashima. Class A of the 3rd year. I've already introduced you just now, Pushima-senpai. I'm Miyamoto Rei from the Spear Department. From Class B of the 2nd year. Miyamoto Rei said with a light smile. I'm also in Class B of the 2nd year, Hirano Toda. Hirano Toda said nervously that the otaku's problem had flared up and he was not used to talking to people. Hello, please give me more advice in the future. 33. Kazushima Seiko smiled softly. Hello, Senior Poison Island 93. The fat man scratched his head shyly. The originally heavy atmosphere suddenly became slightly lighter. What is it time to introduce myself now? I don't know if it stimulated Gaya Chengsaya. She was sitting on the ground but she stood up, startling the school doctor beside her. A group of complacent guys are still playing self-introduction at this time. Do you think this is a game of playing a house? Everyone around me died and turned into zombies. We will also die and we will all too, damn. What kind of senior Miyamoto if you don't repeat the grade? You will be in the same grade as her. Takajo Seiya shouted hoarsely as if going crazy. Gao Cheng, are you all right? Miyamoto Rei looked at Seiya Gaya Cheng worriedly. Saying such dejected words at this time did not match the Seiya Gaya Cheng in her impression at all. What's the matter? What can I do? Don't underestimate me, I'm a genius. If you're serious, you won't lose to anyone. Any senior or senior are not my opponents. Takagi Seiya roared. The words were ugly but no one blamed her. 510. The quiet and peaceful daily life suddenly turned into the doomsday of survival. And there were monster-like zombies everywhere. Few people could bear this extreme change. It is normal to have negative emotions in your heart. Juchu and Shizuka also showed a sad look as a school doctor. She saw too many students being bitten and turned into monsters like zombies along the way. Others were also covered in a haze from the ease just now. Xia Lin frowned. PTSD. Post-traumatic stress disorder is a common psychological phenomenon in life. It occurs after a person has experienced or witnessed a life-threatening event. And almost all people who have experienced such an event will feel great pain, often causing individuals to feel extreme fear. And helplessness symptoms can be large or small, however. It is obviously inappropriate to break out at such a time. Of course, for Xia Lin it made no difference. But for others that's not the case in such a period. It is easy to be driven by pessimism and even the idea of suicide. Seiko Pashima couldn't bear it, and was ready to step forward to comfort him. It's just that a person's speed is faster than her. The one who can do this is naturally Xia Lin. Xia Lin stood up from her seat and walked directly in front of Gaya Chengsaya. Snapped. Xia Lin was very straightforward and directly slapped Gaya Chengsaya. Gaya Chengsaya, who was still crazy, was stunned on the spot. Stop pretending to be crazy and selling stupid to me there. Xia Lin scolded coldly, hey, you are too much. It was Kimuro Taka who spoke out. Seeing his childhood sweetheart being beaten, he couldn't sit still and wanted to come out and accuse Xia Lin. Excessive. Xia Lin glanced at him. Has she gone too far? She doesn't know that shouting like this might attract zombies. But no matter what, you shouldn't hit her. Zio Muro's tone suddenly became a little lower. And along the way, he also discovered the characteristics of zombies, and was particularly sensitive to voices. Although the office was blocked, who knew if Saya Cheng's shouting would spread out and attract zombies? Then I hit you, Xia Lin sneered. Kamuro's face turned red, and he was too suffocated to say a word. Xia Lin looked away from Kamuro Takaya and landed on Cheng's Saya again. Fear, helpless, do you think you are the only one? Are you special? Xia Lin pointed to the 11 people he rescued. Which one of them didn't go through great changes in their lives? And which one didn't go through the gate of hell? Why aren't they crazy, genius? It's almost trash, that. Classmate, it's a bit too much to say 99. Maru-chuan Shizuka spoke weakly, excessive. Xia Lin sneered, it's not too much at all. If you can't overcome this thing, remember. These things will become your daily routine in the future. If you can't get used to it, get rid of yourself as soon as possible and don't get in the way there. Xia Lin patted Cheng Saya on the shoulder, then turned around and walked back to the chair to sit down. Xia Lin is telling the truth. If you can't adapt, you will die sooner or later. Instead of suffering in fear, it is better to get rid of it as soon as possible. What else did Juchu and Shizuka want to say? Dashima Siko said with a sigh, allowing Juchu and Shizuka to swallow her words. Cheng Saya frowned, stared at Xia Lin stubbornly, and gritted his teeth. Who said I can't adapt? I just didn't react all of a sudden, it's just a zombie. How could this kind of thing be my opponent's 39 good? Xia Lin glanced at him and found that the expression on her face had gradually returned to normal. She left 2 words turned around and sat back in place. I don't need you to evaluate me. I will pay you back sooner or later if you hit me. I will make you look at me with admiration. Takajo Saya said, unconvinced. I look forward to it. Xia Lin said, okay, go wash your face first. It's not uncomfortable to have blood on your face. I want you to take care of it. Cheng Saya turned around arrogantly. Woke up by Xia Lin's slap. Also felt the sticky feeling on his face. Walked to the side of the sink by himself. Turned on the faucet and threw it on his face. Zio Shizio looked at this scene with an ugly expression on his face. Cheng Saya didn't even look at him. He just stood up to speak for her, which made him not a person inside or outside. With a cold snort of dissatisfaction, Kamuro Taka walked to the original floor and sat down again. It looks good. Siko Taojima walked up to Xia Lin with a smile. I didn't expect you to be very good at persuading people, in addition to your superb swordsmanship. Although the means are a little more intense. It was she who figured it out on her own. And I was just a facilitator. 11. Xia Lin shook her head. Takajo Sayaho was washing his face on the other side. Glared at Xia Lin again, but Xia Lin pretended not to see it. What do we do next? 10. Kazushima Siko asked in a faint. She could already see that the dozens of people were led by Xia Lin. And Xia Lin's opinion was very important. There is no specific idea for the time being in an outline. What about Yao? What was your plan before? Xia Lin asked. Of course he has plans. Naturally, killing zombies and saving people. Mission accomplished. The 4th task is to ask him to save 50 people. Xia Lin's idea is to save 50 people, and then keep them in captivity for 3 days. After completing the task, he will consider other things. I came to the office to get the car keys at the request of the Kikugawa school doctor. Kazushima Siko answered truthfully. Ready to drive away from school? Xia Lin nodded slightly.
Hello, everyone. As we wrap up this video, I want to share a quick note. I have a Patreon account. If you'd like to support me and enjoy on-demand audiobooks, you can become a Patreon member. Alternatively, you can check out my Google Drive link, which has 500+ novel audiobooks available through my Ko-fi or Patreon shop. I appreciate your support.